We all make choices. But in the end, our choices make us. So choose wisely. Subscribe to It's Erik Nagel wherever podcasts are found. And leave a positive review, won't you kindly?
I'm reading this article, and I don't know if this is a true article or bullshit article, but it's from today. It's in USA Today, and it says Knoxville man suspected of creating a real-life human centipede on the run. They went to a warehouse, and they found 3 people sewn together, but it's on USA Today.
That's Bizarro World.
And I can't find if it's real or not.
You know how people used to fall...
Well, now this is your mission, Gittles.
You know how people used to fall for The Onion, right?
Yeah.
And now there's that other site that...
Clickhole.
Yeah.
Or the Hard Times.
Oh, yeah, whatever
it's called, that people fall for it now because it's not The Onion, so it must be true. What if USA is just turning that way? It's like, look, we'll get more people following this dead periodical if we just start doing clickbait and making up stories.
Unbelievable.
Oh, it's a fake story.
Yeah,
a quick Google search told me it was fake.
It
was a spoof. It was USA Today, and it had like another dot something in the title, so it was like looking like a real page.
Oh,
yeah,
all right.
They spoofed it.
You've been had, Gittles.
I've been had. No, the person who posts on their Facebook's been had. I just looked at it and said, thank God I didn't post that because I'd look stupid.
Yeah.
But you liked it.
I didn't like it. I had to confirm it first, and then you give the like. You can't like it, and then because if you unlike it, then you look stupid.
I applaud you for your journalistic integrity that you fact-check.
Oh, I fact-check every meme I post.
It's Erik Nagel. It starts now.
What up, my Nagel? 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 Talking about George R.R. Martin, not writing. Talking Marvel versus DC, who's more exciting? Talking George Lucas's legacy, high-scoring centipede. Talking Gittles' new beef burrito recipe. Talking about Stephanie McMahon versus Sable. Talking about the Cybermen versus the Weeping Angels. Don't blink, the dialect's more deadly than you think. Talking Summer Ale, Blueberry Pale, craft beer, pouring drinks. What up, my Nagel? Deadpool 2 features Cable. Talking Funko Pop, celebrity signed a label. Talking online gaming, bitching and complaining. Talking E-Rock, kissing the feet of Matt Groening. Warner Brothers properties, Superman's a mockery. Weird Al concerts, Kevin Smith's debauchery. Rick and Morty fun zone. The Lego build team, can I have your attention? Possible Donkey Kong kill screen. What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel?
Ladies and gentlemen of the universe, the next voice you hear.
It's Erik Nagel.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of It's Erik Nagel. A different edition this time around, Labor Day edition, which means we're going to get this done as fast as possible so we can go out and enjoy the long, hard-earned weekend.
Yay!
Erik Nagel is me. Matt OG returns. He's over there to my right.
What's going on?
Over in the upside down is Gittles.
Hello.
And the Treverend is out officiating a wedding.
Well, that's what
so
he
he's
does.
not here with us. That's not what he does.
Oh.
One day he just like, guess what, guys? I got ordained and I'm doing a wedding. Okay, most people pick up. That's not a usual hobby to pick up, but glad you're getting out of the house. Whatever he needs to decompress from work, good for him. So he's going to ruin a couple's lives today and then ruin his life for the rest of the weekend.
Oh, God.
Phone number 651-SMITHERS. That's 651-764-8437. If you want to give the show a call, and we'll talk to you here live on the program. Another programming note for you. Because we had to delay this by one day, it's coming out over the weekend instead of Friday morning. Instead, you got part 2 of the Radio Inquisition series with Mike O'Mara. The first part was many months ago.
Right.
Now part 2 is here, but you can get them both together. The links are up on all the social media for It's Erik Nagel and E-Rock Radio for myself. Please go and check that out. Part 2 is really interesting because we talk a little bit more about their interaction with Opie and Anthony, the end of the Don and Mike era,
right.
The launching of the Mike O'Mara Show era, of course, the Grease Man. They're in D.C. We got to ask about him. He talks about memorable guests, memorable moments, his thoughts on the future of radio. There's a whole bunch there, and I hope you enjoy it. Again, go find the Radio Inquisition. It's on the feed for It's Erik Nagel. So wherever you hear this show, you'll get that episode
Right.
as well, and then this show is coming out through the weekend for the Labor Day holiday. Matt, you haven't been around in a while. You've had some things to do. You were in and out. Last time we talked to you was the big Ren Fair visit for you, and then you were going away on vacation. What's been going on with you since then?
I did go away on vacation. That in fact took place. I was in lovely Ocean City, New Jersey. It was beautiful down there. Have you ever been to Ocean City, New Jersey?
No, we talked this last time because I thought you meant Ocean City, Maryland, and it turns out that's a dump that I wasn't aware of.
Well, Ocean City, Maryland has sort of become like the seaside
Oh, really?
of like the Maryland
Ugh.
like ocean. You know what I mean? Like it's very touristy. It's very much
A bit trashy.
but yeah, a little bit become a little bit of a commercial trap. I hear it's still very nice, but it's still kind of like the seaside. Ocean City, New Jersey, is just a hair above Cape May, so it's pretty far down there.
Okay.
It's removed from Seaside and Point Pleasant and Belmar, you know, where all the Jersey Shore drunk people go. But it's a nice town. The beaches are really clean. Some really good restaurants, some great seafood places you can go and check out.
How was the weather?
The weather was actually really nice. I thought it was going to rain most of the week because that's what we've had
Right.
since April.
Yeah.
But no, the weather was nice. The water was beautiful. Not like tropical blue beautiful, but it was like nice warm water and it wasn't too rough. One day there was like 100 stingrays right at the edge of the water.
I saw your video of
swarming.
that, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, they were swarming and like eating.
That's freaky because the way that the video that you had showed us looked like you were at a petting zoo. 'Cause
Yeah, no.
they were right there in the surf.
Oh yeah.
And was everybody like, "Oh my, that's cool," or were people like, "Oh my God, there's stingrays everywhere"?
No, so I'm sitting on the beach with the people that I was with, my family and the other people that we were with, and I see like this group of like 50 people standing down by the water, and it's in the part of the water where you're not supposed to be swimming.
Right.
So they have like a flag between two areas.
Okay.
Like this is the safe spot to swim because that's where the lifeguards are on duty. So I'm like, why are all these people in the water? And then they were all like huddled really close together. I was like, well, maybe it's like some big like family reunion or something, and they're like taking a photo. But it was like it went on for a while, like 20, 30 minutes, for an hour almost. So I walked down there and no one was freaking out. Everybody just thought it was cool.
Wouldn't it be great if somebody pulled the ultimate prank where they pose for a photo and it's really video?
Yeah, yeah.
And they sat there for half an hour waiting. This photo's taking forever.
But no, they were. I mean, they were swimming right by my feet, touched my feet. My son reached down and pet one of them. I mean, it was
Isn't that a bit dangerous though?
I mean,
don't their
not
tails kind of curl up?
No, I mean, first of all, they were
You're thinking of a scorpion.
They were
No, they do. Their tails kind of curl up and attack in front of them.
no,
That's not how it works.
No, they don't spin up like that. They're too stiff to do that. I
Yeah,
think they
that's not how
mostly
it works
just
at
go
all.
back and forth.
They have a spike on the bottom that they could like whip under as like a weapon, but
Oh,
they
it
usually
goes
use
under,
it more as
not
like
over.
a wagging defense. Like they can't possibly bend that back.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, it's
'Cause you
rigid
can
all
pick
the
them
way
up by
through.
the tail if you don't hit the barb because it won't break. They'll just kind of like arc.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
Okay.
I mean, my son had pet them before at like the touch tank at the zoo, so he was
Right.
like, "Oh, I could do that," and he reached out and pet him. Whatever, he did it. It was fine. But yeah, there was a ton of stingers, so that was really cool. But we were in a nice house. We rented a house for the week, and yeah, it was a good time.
Good.
Good time.
Good. And then you came back to chaos.
Well, it's always chaos. I feel like I hover between not normalcy and chaos.
I feel bad for Matt because Matt goes on some nice vacations to relax, and then he comes back, and it's like life punishes him for taking time off because the week after his vacations is always so hectic and a million things going on.
Yeah, I mean, I had a busy week with my son. He had a lot of going on, and then he has school next week. My wife had a busy week at work, and it was just. And I came back to a mess at work.
Can we talk about his achievement, or do you want to not keep that?
No, it's fine.
Okay, because I thought it was very impressive.
Yeah, so my son takes jiu-jitsu.
Right.
He takes and it's a lot different than like taekwondo and all that other stuff. They don't do any of that form stuff. There's no katas,
Yeah.
none of that stuff. I mean, it's jiu-jitsu. Like they practice, doing sprawling and all sorts of
how to shank a guy,
mounts, all sorts of crazy shit. And the guy that teaches at the school that he goes to is actually he actually had a belt in his division in one of the leagues that he
as a weapon
that he used to fight in. No. So he was actually a
That's how
fighter.
I fight the kids.
And so he's been in the program for a couple of months now. And a couple months ago, he got promoted up to his second belt.
Right.
And then this past week, he got promoted from his beginner program, which is like a normal white gi, up to their advanced program.
The guy who runs the school?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. He's progressing with the children.
He is.
That's pretty good.
No, the guy that runs the school, I think, is a black belt. He's a couple steps away from his red, which is the final belt, I think, in MMA, but or in jiu-jitsu. But
really? Because
yeah.
karate is black as the top, and then you have black with the red stripes on them.
Yeah, the belt system is completely different.
Wow, okay.
Every place you go to has a different belt system, too. Like, you can do Taekwondo at two different places, and they'll have a totally different belt system.
But Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for the most part, follows, like, I'm pretty sure it follows, like, the Gracie family system of belts, because they pretty much developed a lot of that stuff. And this school follows that as well. And I believe in this school, red is the highest you can go. So the instructor there is black. He's a step below the highest belt you can go.
We don't see color here, Matt.
But yeah, so my son got moved up from his beginner program, which was the white gi, to an advanced program, which is a blue gi.
Good for him.
He was super excited, and we were super proud because he did it about 2 months earlier than he should have done it. But that's because he took to it really quick. And he's good at it. So yeah, we were pretty proud.
Your kid's great. He's a kid, he's rambunctious, but he's always happy. He's always fun to be around. I told Matt, you got to be careful when he starts getting into his moods, because he's almost at the point where he could whip your ass.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, we have practice mats.
You're going to bed, and he gets into the stance. He digs into the carpet. And he goes, "No, I'm not."
Yeah. We practice at home. He's hit me a couple times. It hurts, but good for him, man. I want him to. I want all the things that those sorts of things are supposed to give you focus, but I want him to be able to defend himself too.
Matt will wake up one day with his kid kneeling over him, going Kalima, going for the heart.
Is he gonna see him on TV like those Korean guys or whatever, like jumping through the air and punching like 40 boards at once? Like, what happened?
What the fuck happened? Yeah. So so it was pretty cool. He's really happy, and I'm super proud of him. So
good for you.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. So that's it.
Gittles, what's going on with you?
I know jiu-jitsu also, and that's when someone comes up to mug me, I give him my wallet as fast as possible and run the other way.
Very well. Anything else going on with you?
Not too much. Just now, getting out of this sweltering week that was Brooklyn here with like the 100-degree days for like the last 5 days. It was miserable.
It got to the point where, once in a while you get those ozone alerts. Where they're telling you it's a bad ozone day, so when you go outside, be careful, limit your access to outside. And if you don't know what that means, pretty much is you go outside and it just doesn't feel right.
It just burns.
It burns.
Like your skin hurts.
Your skin hurts. You feel like you're breathing weird. Your head's not fully functioning in the right way when you're out there. You're like, it just feels wrong. You need to go back inside. It's not necessarily a heat thing. It's just an atmosphere thing.
Yeah.
So the other day we had so much heat. It was 100 degrees here, where we are in New Jersey, and I'm watching the local news where they're doing the weather reports, and they said, and there's a warning, and I thought it was an ozone warning, and they were saying no, the heat is just so insane. Please don't go outside if you don't need to. So I have a dog, so when the dog has to go out, it's like, nope, we're not going to the park today. In and out, just like it's raining. Go to the front, run back on, and then we're done for that. We had such bad heat, but the contrast to it has either been extreme heat or a lot of rain. And the news said that 10 weekends out of the summer have been rain, and this area, the New York City area, has had 22 inches of rain.
Oh, it's been insane.
Which is way more than we've ever had. It broke all these records here. There's
so
too much
rain.
Yeah. As we saw a couple of weeks ago, the footage I had up online where those cars floated off the Dodge Jeep Chrysler lot on 46 in Little Falls down that river and slammed into the bridge for the highway.
Well, the school that my son practices jiu-jitsu at, they had
cars in the playground.
They're in Caldwell, which got really bad flooding in their streets as well. And they had a photo on their website of water literally coming through the wall like a waterfall in their basement.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I mean, it's been really, really bad.
Like, there's been so many days where I've been walking around and I've just had to take refuge because it's like a flash flood. My phone starts vibrating, and then within like 20 to 30 seconds, the water's ankle high, and you're like, this is just like, there's pigeons floating down the street dead. You're like, holy shit, I gotta get out of here.
This summer is like that short story. Do you remember All Summer in a Day? Was it that Ray Bradbury, I think, that wrote that one?
No.
I don't know that one.
It was about the girl who lived on Venus, where it rains every single day of the year, except for one day for like 2 hours where the sun comes out.
That's also
Seattle.
the story of Noah and his ark.
Yes, similar.
But yeah, the other day I was walking around. It was like 85 degrees when I was at work. I was like, okay, that's not bad. I got home and it was 95 degrees and the sun went down. I was like, this isn't right. Like it shouldn't be 10 degrees hotter when the sun is down.
And the
night is burning.
I have an older home, so we don't have normal like AC, right? We don't have like
Central air,
right? We have air conditioning units throughout the house, and I keep the house really cool. It's not a problem, right? Because I have the structure of my house is easy to keep cool with window units, but every now and again upstairs obviously it gets a little hotter, and I don't keep them on all day. So those first couple of minutes when I come home, it's real hot upstairs.
Yeah.
And I walked up the first flight of stairs in my house. I didn't even try to go up the second flight to go into the attic, which is where I had to go. I walked up the first flight of stairs into my house, and I started sweating and heavy breathing halfway up because it was
There's
so
an ozone
hot.
warning in your second floor.
On the second floor of my home. It's rough. It's rough.
I can't even stand it where if you're with somebody and you know they have the automatic start for their car and they're not activating it before you get to the car. Yeah. Like they're looking for the keys, they open the car, you get in. I'm like, why didn't you already start the car so the AC's going? And they're still not starting the car. They're looking at their phone and you're like, it is too hot in here. Start the car.
Yeah, on those days, I don't have automatic start, but I will start the car, roll down the windows, and stand outside the car for a minute. That's just to let the hot air out.
If you look, that used to be a luxury maybe 10 years ago. Now it's pretty much standard in a lot of cars. You have the remote start. Use it during the summer, because when you go to park your car, here's the trick: you crank the AC up high as you turn it off.
It still hasn't hit standard yet, though.
What do you mean?
It's still not a standard in most. It's still considered a luxury.
Really?
add-on.
I thought it was.
My car is less than 3 years old, and my car doesn't have it.
Wow.
And I don't have.
All right, I take it back. I thought it was.
I don't have a low
feature.
end package. I have like a middle package,
right,
where you would think it would come. No, it was an additional.
Wow.
Now I could get it added on.
I thought what still was luxury is like cars that have the seat warmers, or like my parents have in Florida in their cars, seat coolers,
right,
where there's gel going in the seat to make it cold. Those are the things I thought were still the add-ons now, or something on the onboard computer. Now I didn't realize the remote start wasn't a
even my wife's
feature.
car, which is only 2 years old, which has like the onboard navigation with the backup camera. She's got a sunroof and a moonroof and all that crazy shit. She has it in her car, but it wasn't factory installed. It was done independently through another place.
Wow.
And it's not. Again, it's not a. It's so I'm just letting you know. It's not like it hasn't
that's
quite
fine.
hit standard
I stand corrected
yet.
on that. I thought it was. But if you have it, please use it. When you in the summer and it's hot, hit your AC to the max as you turn it off.
Although,
so this way, when you get back in, it's on and you can crank it down so it's comfortable. And in the winter, pre-start your car with the heat on.
Technically in the state that we live in.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do that.
What do you mean?
You can pre-start it, but you're not allowed to leave it idling for a prolonged period of time. I think it's anything over 2 minutes. You could technically get a ticket for.
Is it like a pollution type thing?
It's a pollution. It's an emissions
idle?
thing. It's an emissions thing.
Oh.
You're not allowed to idle.
Well, I've been guilty of that for years.
Oh, I have too. I warm it up in the winter.
Exactly. When we were doing morning radio and it was still pitch black out, first thing I do is I get up. I'd go to the side of the house because I have the key.
Yeah.
Next to my bed, I start the car. I go to the bathroom, I shower, get changed, everything, hop in the car. It's warm, ready to go.
Yeah. No, it's. But yeah, in our
it's a nice perk
state,
if you have it.
It is a nice
perk. I thought it was standard. Anything else going on in your life, Gittles, before we move on?
No, I used the excuse of the heat to go see a movie, and I saw The Meg.
I'm sorry.
And it was
Sharktastic?
No, it was Sharkrific. It was horrible.
Oh no. I wanted to see it because I thought it looked like it was self-aware that it was a goofy movie.
No. I thought the same thing. It is not that at all. Well, I got an alert on my phone.
It thought it was Deep Blue Sea?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Deep Blue Sea is amazing. But I got an alert on my phone. I thought it was about like the heat advisory, and it was like Movie Pass being like, yo, dude, we got like $10. You want to see a movie? I was like, all right, shit, I better hurry up. So I went and saw The Meg, and yeah, that's what I did, and it was just awful. Like, I don't understand the point of the movie. They literally took scenes from Jaws and redid them. Like, I'm not even joking when I say that. Like, there are scenes directly out of Jaws that they redid.
Where it bites the end of a boat and then Quint goes sliding down into its mouth?
No, not that part. But there's a part where, and this isn't a spoiler because the movie sucks.
Naked girl swimming at midnight?
No, there's a part where, like, the shark is coming in on the beach, and there's, like, a mom with her kid, and she's like, well, don't go out there in the water. Like, be within my distance so you're safe. And then the shark comes through, and everyone's panicking, trying to find the kid. It's no joke. Like, just right from Jaws. Like, so many bits are right from Jaws, but it's terrible. Like, it's a really bad movie. The dialogue is not good.
How was Rainn Wilson in it?
He was okay. I mean, like, the acting, like, for the most part, for that kind of movie was so-so.
Right.
I kind of feel like Rainn Wilson is just Rainn Wilson always, though.
That's what he was.
Yeah. Isn't he just Dwight? Like,
yeah. Remember that show they gave him after The Office on Fox, where he was he like an investigator or a serial killer or something?
Yeah, wasn't he a superhero? Oh no, that was the movie he was in.
He's like Charlie from It's Always Sunny. Like, everything he's in, he's like Charlie. You know what I mean? It's just like, he's just Rainn and everything. He's the same guy.
He's Dwight always.
Yeah, he's Dwight. But I don't know. I haven't looked up any info on this movie, but I believe it was it made by like an Asian film company? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Because like two of the leads are like Chinese actors, and the whole movie takes place.
Box.
What's up?
I said I will use my magic box.
Yeah, and the whole movie takes place in like in Asia, like off by like Thailand and Japan and China and stuff like that.
It's distributed by Warner Brothers.
It seemed to me that the whole movie was a plot to have Jason Statham fall in love with this Chinese actress. Like, that is like what the whole movie was, and that's what. And
that there just happened to be a shark storyline somewhere.
Yeah, and there's a shark in it, and it's so stupid.
Directed by John Turteltaub, written by Dean Jorgaris and John Hober, distributed by Warner Brothers. So no would be the answer to your question, Gittles.
Because it looked like the same cast from the people who were in that Great Wall movie, and that's why I thought maybe, because I knew that was kind of, I think, like marketed more towards like the Asian audiences,
right? More so than Crazy Rich Asians?
I don't know. But, like, it was just...
It was disappointment all around for you.
It was just disappointment all around. Like, there's so much they could have done with it. It's just, like, scenes that made no sense.
Did they kill it by having some kind of tank in its mouth and you shoot it?
What's up?
Did they kill it by throwing some tanks in the shark's mouth and shooting it?
No. It was even stupider than that.
Propeller
they just
blade.
like cut it open. Like, that's pretty much it. They cut it open and Jason Statham puts like a poker in its eye and it dies. Like, I'm not even joking. That's how it dies. Like, it's really stupid.
Spoiler, but nobody's going to see it, so it's all right.
Yeah, no one's gonna go see it.
Well, it did make $416 million to date, so I guess some people are going to see it.
It's so hot, you have to get in from the heat, and you have to like sit in a movie theater, and that's what it was. It was like 2 hours of AC. But the thing is, everybody who was in the theater was laughing at how bad it was. So I felt like I was the last person there in on the joke. I was like, wait, I thought this was actually going to be a good movie, but everyone else was like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. And then it turns out it is this week's episode of How Did This Get Made? So I cannot wait to listen to it because it's going to be amazing.
They do current movies?
Sometimes if it's really bad.
Wow, I didn't know they went current on that show. Okay.
Yeah, so they did The Meg because it's that bad. Like, there's nothing redeeming about it. There's not even like, none of the jokes make it. They have like the annoyed black guy who's just like, I can't believe there's a shark this big, and then like the fat computer nerd guy who's like, all right, well, I'm gonna get Jurassic Park online, and then everybody in the movie sacrifices themselves for the sharks so that other people can live. And it's just really, it makes no sense. Like, there's so many scenes where people are like, I'll distract the shark, and they jump in the water, and it's like, all right, well, that was stupid. Like, you could have easily been rescued. Like, why did you do that?
Why did you do this?
There's just, bad plot holes, bad dialogue.
So it's not even a good bad movie. It's a bad movie.
It's like a bad movie, but I'm sure if you watched it, you would laugh at a lot of like how bad it is, but it's not an enjoyable bad movie. It's just like, oh my god, it takes an hour and 10 minutes before you even see the shark. And it's a 2-hour movie. Yeah, dude, like you see like little glimpses.
Isn't that what Jaws was too? Didn't take a while before they actually showed the shark?
Yeah,
well,
but
they ripped that off from Jaws too.
But Jaws, I think was made in a different. I mean, obviously, it was made in a different time, but it was made in a different time, and it was a different style of movie where you don't need to see the monster in Jaws. It's really built up on suspense. In 2018,
You're saying people use their imagination and can visualize it in their head, and it'll be more scary not to see it than actually see it?
Correct. In 2018, if you make a giant shark movie, you better see the giant fucking shark within the first 5 minutes of the giant shark movie.
Oh, you don't. You don't see it at all.
That's
for
surprising.
a long time, you just see it was like Cloverfield, how you'd see like bits of its body, but you don't really see the whole thing till towards the end.
Right.
And you're like, why did you wait so long to do that? And they even like ripped off the bit from Jaws where they're like, oh, we got the shark. And it was like, oh, obviously that's the wrong shark. That shark is way too small to be the megalodon that's
It was one of those
eating
stingrays
whales
in the surf where Matt was.
That's it. Yeah.
It's like, this is a shark. No, it's not.
It was actually a small catfish from a local fish tank.
I see you played Sharky Spoony before.
I see you played horseshoe crabs versus stingray. Fight.
It was Jabberjaw. Was he wearing a Hawaiian shirt?
Did it sound like Curly from the Three Stooges?
Ugh.
Instead of hearing
What a-
da 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 da, you hear oh my God, Jabberjaw's coming. Well, I'm sorry that movie sucked. Is it going to be one of those movies that like FXX will rerun nonstop on the weekends, like they did with Pacific Rim, or is it not even worth rerunning?
Oh, I'm sure it'll be replayed somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna find some sort of maybe cult audience, but I don't know if it's like even that good.
Wait until Sci-Fi gets the rights and it's Megalodonado.
Ugh, I would watch that.
Sharknado 6,
I would watch that just to see
Megalodonado.
the immense, this just megalodon fall on someone. It would be like a city bus landing on something.
Wasn't there a final Sharknado?
Was there a final one? Because, when you're dealing with prehistoric sharks, Eric, you can always go back to the well.
Wait, I thought there was one.
Always. If it's a megalodon.
I think we missed it. Oh, we did.
No, I have missed all of them.
No,
and I'm not
I know.
upset.
I've seen everyone so far.
That's your problem.
It is. Sharknado 6, the last Sharknado, subtitle, It's About Time. It aired on August 19th. I didn't see any promotion for this.
Well, at that point, it's got a built-in audience.
Do you know Tara Reid is still alive in that movie?
You know what? I'm shocked that Tara Reid is alive.
She's barely alive in real life.
I was going to say.
So, wow, we missed Sharknado 2. 6, sorry. TOO is what I was saying.
I would have much rather seen Sharknado 6 than The Meg. And that whole movie, I swear everyone else in the movie theater was going, God damn it, Meg, like Family Guy, like Peter Griffin. Because you knew, like, every time a line came up, it was just the obvious joke. Come on. Don't go for that. Really? Oh, so bad.
Boo earns.
Double boo earns.
It's a big shark.
So I had a gift card that I hadn't used that I got for my birthday for a massage therapy session.
Okay.
Right? So I said, you know what? I had some time. I'll finally use this thing. Mm-hmm. And the place that it was for had something called stretching sessions.
Oh, no.
I had no idea what this was, and I'm reading it, and it's talking about, full body stretch and all stuff. I was like, you know what? I've never done that. Let's try that.
Right.
I went to that. That was an experience because
you don't strike me as the most flexible of lads.
No, I'm more buoyant than flexible, and so you go in there and you're supposed to wear comfortable clothing, but it's not like a regular massage where you have like your underwear and a towel and they're doing deep tissue or whatever or reflexology. This is full body contortion.
Right.
So you wear something comfortable, you go there, and it was like a 90-minute session. You sit there, and all they do is this. They show you how to like bend your body in ways that you didn't think you were supposed to bend, and then they hold you in that position. And they're like, is that okay? You're like, yeah, that's fine. How about now? Oh, no, that's a bit much. Yeah. But it just contorted all over, and
you probably felt great when it was all done.
I did. I was hot. I felt burning.
Yeah.
And then, you drink water, you cool down, and you leave. And once I got home, I was like, wow, I did feel, for a couple days, I felt really good.
Loosen up all the joints.
I can hear my feet bones cracking.
The blood's flowing again. My arm has movement. And it was a good, I enjoyed it. I've gone for massages or, when they do the skincare sessions, things like that. Sure. I've never done the stretching thing. And I was like, once in a while, that's good to throw in there if you have the means to do so, to go and get that done, because you realize like, wow, there is something to it. And it really has changed my thinking a little bit on it, as far as maybe that yoga thing is a good idea to try.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
So I'm thinking I'm gonna actually give it a go.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, because I was walking around like, wow, my legs feel really really good. My arm doesn't feel as stiff anymore, and
good on you.
Yeah. So if you can go and try it, believe me. I'm not endorsing any company. I'm just saying that was something I've never done before.
Go get your stretch on.
It was it was a good experience. Other than that, just trying to get used to what you say, getting ready to go back to school.
Yes.
Trying to go
back to school, Eric.
Trying to go to bed at a somewhat decent hour instead of when everyone's going to work. I'm trying to go back to bed because I start that other job on Tuesday. So I've been, going to bed at somewhat regular times.
Is that an early morning gig?
It's not an early morning gig, but it's like a 10-hour day.
Oh, okay.
So, it's a long haul. Because it's 4 days a week.
Right.
So I'm getting used to getting back into that rhythm again of living an outside life.
Right.
So it was just funny because I kept laughing. I'm like, this is like what parents are doing with their kids. Like, look, you had fun this summer, but you're going to have to go to bed a little earlier because you start school next week.
Oh, yeah.
You got to get them back into the routine.
We've started our routines at home already to get ourselves ready for it.
Right.
So it's not a shock to the system.
Right.
Yeah.
And is he fighting it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Tooth and nail.
me too.
Tooth and nail.
Because it'll be like 11 o'clock and I'm being shouldn't you go to bed? I'm watching television. Yeah. I haven't seen any of this stuff yet. I'll go to bed soon. And then it's 3 a.m. and I go, damn it, I should have went to bed 4 hours ago. Between that and we're the beginning of September now, so that means that pumpkin spice has been out for a month and a half. It's everywhere.
Yes, I'm very excited.
The consumer tried the new Frosted Flakes pumpkin spice.
I saw there was a lot of hype around them.
It's just cinnamon and nutmeg, people.
Yes, thank you.
But it's delicious together. I mean, let's not lie. Let's not play.
Here it is.
As a person who works in a bakery, it's not.
Yes. Here it is. Frosted Flakes is one of the most perfect cereals.
It's pretty damn good.
You don't need to add anything. You don't need to change anything.
I just like mine in chocolate milk. Right. That's how I make
Ooh.
them delicious.
They make chocolate Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Not the same?
You make yourself a nice glass of cold chocolate milk.
Turnip juice.
Using the nice Hershey's syrup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A little extra chocolatey.
Right.
And then you put the regular Frosted Flakes in the chocolate milk. That's like heaven. That's like heaven.
I would like to subscribe to your newsletter, sir.
That does sound like a good... I would give that a shot once.
I'm starting a new endeavor.
Once?
Yeah.
My grandmother
Without
did me
Trevor.
once.
By the way, side note, have you tried that Hershey's Simple or Simple Hershey's, whatever the syrup?
No. I don't
it's
even
only
know what that
5 ingredients.
No.
It's really good.
All right.
Because when
It
you
should
taste,
only be 5 ingredients.
No,
It's fucking chocolate syrup.
but
You
if-
just need like chocolate, sugar, fucking.
No, but it has
that's
all those other. It has all the other shit in there.
coloring and all this other nonsense.
Yeah.
But
riboflavin or some crap.
if you compare the two, you
Yeah.
start to see, it's like even the Heinz ketchup as the Simply Heinz
Sure.
and the regular Heinz. When you taste the regular Heinz, it's still delicious, but it's very sweet.
Oh, yeah.
And when you take the regular Heinz, it's very minimal sugar in there at all, a little bit more salt, and it's more basic, like it's a little blander.
More
but
basic
it's-
like a
yeah,
bitch.
But it's more, it's a little blander, but it's a little bit more flavorful in the same beat than it is with the regular Heinz that you would get at your diner or restaurant, something like that. The Simply Hershey syrup, really good. If you see it, you should give that a try. The Frosted Flakes. Last year they made cinnamon Frosted Flakes.
Right.
Wasn't a big fan of those because they removed more of the sugary goodness on it to cover it with cinnamon. Now, this year, in order to make it pumpkin spice, like Gittles said, all they did is throw nutmeg on top of it.
Sure.
And they're like, there you go. Whatever was left over last year is brand new this year.
Right.
And I think it's only a Walmart exclusive because that's the only place I've been able to find it.
Okay.
So I got a box, I tried it, and I'm not a pumpkin fan. And when I say that, I mean the pumpkin spice.
Right.
Because everybody says, oh, it's got pumpkin in front. There's no pumpkin in anything. Pumpkin spice is nutmeg, it's cinnamon, and there's maybe one or two
Cloves.
Cloves are in there. I don't know when it changed. I remember as a kid, I used to love pumpkin pie, and then all of a sudden I just
still love
absolutely
pumpkin
hated
pie.
it.
But see, for me, it's weird. Like, I like certain pumpkin spice things. Right, like I don't mind like the pumpkin spice latte. I don't drink them all the time, but they're all right. I don't mind that kind of stuff. I like pumpkin spice coffee creamer because I think that cinnamon and nutmeg are delicious together. I don't have a problem saying that. You don't want to call it pumpkin spice, and you want to just call it fall whatever. But I mean,
you know what you could also call it? You can call it apple spice because it's the same exact ingredients that are in apple pie.
But are
cloves in apple pie?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Wow,
I use
didn't know that.
And actually, you can even use allspice, which is also delicious. But
What about Old Bay?
no, that would be gross.
Okay.
So something that is near and dear to this show in particular, right, is the beers, right?
Yeah.
My favorite pumpkin beers are not the ones that just taste like nutmeg and cinnamon. I like the ones where I can actually taste pumpkin. Because I like the taste of actual pumpkin.
Yeah, same here.
I've actually
like
cooked pumpkin. I actually cook pumpkin every year, as a squash, and I just eat it.
Okay.
It's delicious. Pumpkin is a good squash. It's tasty.
Is it a squash or is it a gourd?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same family, I think, right?
Gotcha.
Isn't it? Is it
Gourd.
Gittles, do you know? Is it a squash or a gourd? I think it's the same family, isn't it?
I think it's the same thing.
I think it's two names that mean the same thing.
Gotcha. It's part of a cornucopia.
Yes.
I'm going to see what a gourd is.
Gourd might be smaller. Maybe gourd is based on size. Because think butternut squash, yellow squash, zucchini squash, pumpkin. They're all kind of in the same jammy jam, right?
I think so.
I think so. Anyway, so my favorite pumpkin things normally are where it can actually taste not just the spice but the pumpkin, with one exception. My favorite guilty treat this time of year are pumpkin delights.
What's that?
Do you know what pumpkin delights are? I think.
Nope.
Is it Little Debbie?
Is it like I feel like pumpkin delight?
I'm gonna show
like
you a picture.
pumpkin delight.
They only make them for a couple times.
My God, man.
They only make them for a little bit. They only make them for a little bit each year, and when I see them, I buy boxes of them.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to. I'm pretty sure they're called pumpkin delights.
I don't think pumpkin is technically a gourd.
Oh, okay. So what's the?
I think it's a squash.
It's a squash. What's the difference?
Well, I'm just looking under gourds, and they just come from a different family.
Oh, Little Debbie's.
Oh, okay.
But it also says a gourd can be a fleshy, typically large fruit with hard skin, which some are edible. So it technically could be, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it really matters.
So is that like jelly or jam in it?
But it's kind of like a jam.
All right, so they're Little Debbie's pumpkin delights.
Yeah, so there are these little puffed pastry sort of cookie cakey things with a pumpkin sort of jam.
Right.
They are delicious. They are a true guilty pleasure for
They're
me.
a little creepy. They're in a jack-o'-lantern smile design.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, okay.
I love them.
You know what? I've never had these, and even though I'm not a big pumpkin fan, I would give these a try if I can find these.
Seek them out.
And if I don't like them, you can have the rest of them.
I'll take the rest.
Perfectly done. So the pumpkin spice frosted flakes.
Right.
I come to the conclusion that it was not for me, but I know lots of people love pumpkin spice. I would assume you'll love it.
Okay.
So go out there and give it a try. It's not horrible. It's not like this is awful, nobody will like it. I don't like the pumpkin spice flavoring. It's not for me, but I know this. If I don't like it, I know people who like pumpkin spice will enjoy it.
Okay.
So go out and give that a
You know
try.
what they should do if they're going to do a cereal with pumpkin spice? They should do Cinnamon Toast Crunch pumpkin spice.
See that
That
even
would
though I'm not
probably
a
be-
fan of it, that seems to make a lot of sense.
I like Cinnamon Toast Crunch
because they're heavily
Cinnamon
dusted.
Toast Crunch is great.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is. It is delicious.
Cinnamon-
Not the smooth, not the milkshake though.
No, the one from Burger King. Yeah,
Ew.
Burger King went through a bit of a phase where every cereal became a shake. They had a Lucky Charms, they had a Fruit Loop, they had the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. What did you find?
Sorry. So gourds they're considered the ornamental squash. They are traditionally not much for eating,
They're called Asians.
but they are part of the same family as squash. Well, gourds and squash are part of a much larger family. Gourds traditionally you don't eat. Squash you do. There you go. There's your
So
difference.
one's decorative, one's for consumption.
Correct.
Gotcha. No, we learned something today.
See?
No more confusion when Thanksgiving comes around.
That's
I know
right.
what to eat now.
Being grandma with a gourd, it's a lot harder and it'll do more damage.
Go ahead, son. Eat the centerpiece.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Anyway.
I didn't mean to derail you.
No, that's totally fine. So yeah, that was it with the cereal. The other thing that came out, which is one of my favorite things of the fall, and I'll explain a little further when I tell you what the product was. So Entenmann's released apple cider donuts.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now, anybody who's in an area that may have a place that makes good, fresh, fried apple cider donuts, don't come at me because you're saying, why would you go to... If you're in an area that doesn't have them, right?
Yeah.
These are a great item to fill the void.
They're pretty tasty.
They're delicious. Entenmann's rarely puts out a clunker of a product.
Yeah.
The apple cider donuts, very good. Now, with that being said, by all means, if you're near a fair, a farm stand, a farmer's market, any kind of place that, if you're near Amish country, they do it there too. If they make fresh made apple cider donuts, go get those first.
Yeah.
Get a bag of those and enjoy and go into a sugar coma and appreciate life.
I like to tell my family that one of my favorite fall things to do is to go apple picking.
Yes.
But really, it's to go and get apple cider donuts.
One of my memories as a kid is going apple picking and then eating so many apple cider donuts that I just puked everywhere. And my dad was just like, yeah, we got to keep them away from you because you would just eat them until you puked like a dog. And then you'd be like, oh, maybe I could still eat that puke. And we'd be like, no, Brian, no.
No,
they smack
bad,
him with
Brian,
they,
bad.
They grab him and rub his face in it.
Yeah. And they're like, no, he's eating it. Don't do that. Just hit me with newspapers and phone books.
It's like it's like all this money I wasted and this dog has no training. I mean, our son has no training. No, I love going apple picking.
The dog's just shaming me.
There's a place up in Warwick, right across the New York State, New Jersey border there.
Maskers?
Might be, I don't know, but it's also a vineyard as well.
Okay.
Like they have wine, they have apple picking. Like they make their own wine up there. They have apple picking, and they have a bit of a concession area, and it's not like fair or carnival like concession. It's they make a lot of good stuff. They cook. They have the apple cider donuts. So you go up there, and I'll go to get like Honeycrisp apples.
Yep.
Then you pick up some wine. I love apple cider. Apple cider is even better when you let it sit out in the freezing cold and it turns into what my family used to call Apple Jack.
Yeah.
Because then it's just sugary alcohol goodness.
Oh, yeah.
That makes you feel fine, but will shoot right through you in an instant.
Oh, yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
oh, this is great, and then you're living on the toilet for the rest of the night.
Oh, yeah.
But the whole ride is just something to. It's an experience.
Sure.
It means you're alive.
You want to poison yourself? Listen to E-Rock.
We should do that sometime.
Eric's out there like those squirrels that eat like the fermented pumpkins or trying to climb up the tree and like falling off.
Oh, you drunk squirrels. We should go. We should go do that sometime. Let's go up to one of the there's orchards and get some stuff.
There's one that I go that's a little bit south of here that's got amazing donuts, and then there's one that's a little bit west of here that's got some great product and donuts and stuff too.
There was another place. I wish I knew the name of it. There's another place that it's on a farm. They have their orchard. They have a big barn, but they also specialize in pickles.
Ooh,
yeah. I'm trying. I'll see.
Apple cider pickles?
No,
that actually probably be
no.
delicious.
I don't. You know what? No, they weren't apple cider pickles because I would have remembered that. But they pickle their own
It was
stuff.
like an apple cider
So you were
vinegar?
getting huge pickles on a stick too in their little farm
yeah,
stand
that's
concession.
nice.
So you're just eating pickles while you're out in the orchard picking apples and having a good time.
Have you ever been to like the I think it's the Reading Terminal in Philly where they have like the Amish donut stand where they make like the fresh hot donuts?
Yep.
I wonder if they do an apple cider.
Well, I've been through
donut. 'Cause I've had like a
Lancaster
lot
a
of them
lot.
and they're really good, but you have to eat them when they're hot because once they get cold, they're not good.
There
But
is-
if you're there, they're fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, there's places in Lancaster that I've gone through where you'd see some of the Amish farmer markets where you go there and it's like they pull up the container that they use for fries.
Yeah.
They just pull the donuts out of the oil and they let them sit for a little bit. And like Gittles said, you get them hot because they just taste completely something. Fire makes it good,
Right.
you know.
There's a booth up at the Renaissance Fair now that sells the little mini donuts that they make right there.
Like
Those are called Cheerios.
Munchkins.
Yeah, like the little. No, they're not Munchkins. They're donuts because they've got a hole.
Oh, okay. Oh, like all right.
Yeah, but
little
they're
mini donuts.
We used to call them wee donuts growing up because there was a stand.
Little donuts.
Yeah, there was a stand that by us.
Those are
that-
pinky donuts. You put them on your
but-
pinky.
Exactly.
You eat them like a fancy
But
lad.
they have like apple cider and they have like pumpkin spice and they have ones that are like maple bacon. And
I've had the maple bacon.
But they put them in. They normally put them in the little paper bags that absorb all the extra grease. Oh my god,
It's your window to weight game.
I'm leaving here. And
It's like an
fucking
old
donuts.
school television gimmick where the guy would come to lunch with his brown bag and it was leaking or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, my lunch is ruined." And you're like, "No, that's how the donuts need to be served. They need to be they become one with the paper."
Do you remember when there was an Entenmann's factory around here? It was on 23 by the Willowbrook Mall.
No, I grew up
Yeah, we
on
grew
Long
up near
Island.
one.
Well, before I even moved to the neighborhood where Gittles and I were, grew up. Before that, I lived in Brentwood on Long Island.
Okay.
We were blocks away from the Entenmann's factory on Fifth Avenue. For anybody on Long Island listening, you know exactly where I'm talking about there. On Sunday, you could just go outside your house and the neighborhood just smells like baked goods. It was amazing. And you go down to the warehouse, the factory, because they would make it there. Then they'd have their factory company store there, where you'd go through, and it's a lot cheaper than when you would buy it in the supermarkets. And then when you would put it on you'd bring it to the register, they'd put it through the machine that would do the red and white rope tying.
Oh yeah.
So it goes through there, and like, don't put your hands in there, and then the machine goes crazy, and then comes back out, and everything's stacked and tied in a red string with a bow. And
it was the same thing over here.
Yeah.
In Jersey, they had the factory store in the front, so you can go and you could. Oh my! I would buy so many boxes of the chocolate ones.
Dude, those little cookies are crack.
They're little chocolate chip cookies.
Those little, you get the box of them, you open them up, and then you just eat them like a wood chipper.
And the next thing you know, the box is empty. You hate yourself, but you're also pleased at the same time.
They're not rare, but they're not often found. They have the devil's food cake donuts, but they're glazed, and they have the crumbles
on top.
Because sometimes you get them just the regular devil's food cake donuts, but if you can find them like the crumb cake donuts, you're like, this is Sunday morning. You have 2 of those and a glass of milk, and sugar coma ahoy.
And I don't know what those crumbs were made out of, but like they were all like perfectly shaped. It was almost like turtle food, but they were like crumbs. Like I don't know how they did that, but I just want them in like a shaker. I just shake them right into my mouth.
They probably go through some sort of like press and like one of those starch molds. One of my favorite shows on the Food Network back when it was Mark Summers was How Did This Get Made?
Unwrapped.
Unwrapped.
Yeah.
And he would go through all that stuff. Oh man, I love watching them make all that crazy shit.
Let me do a little side note. Not that because we didn't go to Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con
2 years ago.
2 years ago,
he threw some mad shade.
Find the maybe I'll see if I can find and put it up somewhere else. But it's either on our YouTube or on the feed for the show. 2016 San Diego Comic-Con show that we did. We talked to Mark Summers because they were announcing
2017.
Yes, 2017. They were announcing the return of Double Dare.
Right.
Which, by the way, did come back at the beginning of the summer. I saw a couple episodes of it.
Wow, really?
Yeah. It's on... It
was on Nick.
Was it Nick or that teen Nick?
No, it might have been the teen one.
It's one of the Nick channels. But anyway, go find that. So anyway, we're talking to him about that, and then we bring up Unwrapped because he did 1 or 2 seasons of Unwrapped.
Oh, he did a lot more than that.
Well, he
started the show.
Unwrapped,
a couple seasons.
Unwrapped was a show that he would go, and it was like, how did this get made? In the sense of, he's like, you ever wonder about Astro Pops? It's like, is it a lollipop? Is it wax? How do you find out? Well, we went to the factory and they show us how you make that candy. And he would do that. How do you make saltwater taffy? I remember was a big episode. So he would do that and just take you for step-by-step process of how this candy got made. It was a great show. They were like half-hour episodes.
Yeah, they were awesome.
He's at dinner one time, and he gets a phone call from, was it Alfonso Ribeiro?
No, it wasn't him. It was somebody else that heard the news.
And he told him, he's like, he just got picked as the host for this show called Unwrapped.
Well, Alfonso Ribeiro was the one that replaced him, but I don't think he found out from Alfonso Ribeiro. I thought he found out from somebody else. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, he found out that he was replaced not by the people that were paying him. It's
Alfonso Ribeiro.
Yeah, but was that who told him he had replaced him? I thought he found out.
That's who told him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Mark was at...
Anyway, try to find the interview. It's good.
Yeah, and Mark's just like, so I thought I was coming back for another season, and Alfonso Ribeiro tells him, he goes, I just got picked up for this Food Network show called Unwrapped. I'm going to host it. And Mark had no idea he wasn't hosting the show anymore.
And they called it Unwrapped 2.0, didn't they?
Correct.
And it sucked. Man. It was not as good as Mark Summers.
Yes, Mark
version.
also said, he did not have kind words to say. Not about Alfonso, but about the show.
About the Food
and
Network.
The Food Network.
Yeah.
So look for that interview. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, also Apple Cider Donuts, go pick that up. One last thing with Enterman's, and then we'll move on to some other things.
Sure.
Enterman's is like some sort of weird porn shop.
Correct. Entenmann's. They do fruit pies, right? Now, fruit pies have been around forever. Growing up for me, they in a lot of the stores right near the register was always Hostess.
Right.
So you had the apple, the cherry, the lemon, the blueberry, the Boston cream one, right?
You're missing the best one out of the lot.
What?
The chocolate pudding. That was the best Hostess one by far.
Oh, right. Yeah, there was the chocolate. Well, at that point, I didn't like chocolate, so I wasn't looking for that. but I loved apple and I loved the cherry. Blueberry. Actually, I loved the fruit flavors. The lemon was good too. Whatever. Too, yeah. And then other companies were making fruit pies, like Drake's. And Entenmann's not too long ago decided to put out whole fruit pies. Then they started making the minis in the box. The cherry's amazing and the apple's amazing. Well, and then they had a limited edition of a raspberry for a little bit, but that didn't stay out too long. Now they just put out blueberry, right? So I pick up the blueberry. It is amazing. Yeah. Again, Entenmann's cannot do wrong.
They've got the recipe down now, but you're making me want tasty cake now. The Boston cream tasty cake.
Okay, so I'm talking.
Tasty cake also makes like the little pies.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But they come in like a tin.
Right.
They have one that's Boston cream, and it's freaking delicious.
And it's out of Philadelphia.
Correct. But you can get them at Wawa around here.
Right. So I'm talking about the fruit pies with my neighbor who is into the consumer, and I give him all the extra stuff that we have laying around.
Yeah.
So he's telling me about the Tasty Cake fruit pies. I said, no, I never had the Tasty Cake stuff, because I really haven't had a lot of Tasty Cake stuff, but I just remember I don't like it for some reason.
Really?
So he goes and he found the fruit pies, so I gave him a box of the Entenmann ones. He gives me the Tasty Cake, and I tried it. It was the cherry one, and I don't know what it is with their crust or their cake. Is just it tasted like cardboard to me. I know that's blasphemous to people who love Tasty Cake, but it just didn't do it for me.
It's a different kind of crust than like the Hostess pies or the Entenmann pies.
Right.
It's a little softer. Like the Entenmann's and the Hostess pies are kind of like, they're almost kind of like crunchy and glazed, sort of.
Right.
And Tasty Cake is not that. It's a little bit softer.
Yeah.
It's like a cross between a crust and a cake. It weird.
Feels like if you ate something that was whole grain.
But it doesn't taste like whole grain. I love Tasty Cake. Now I might go to Wawa. There's one close, but there's two close by. I might go to Wawa.
Okay. You go do that.
I'm going to leave right now. See you guys later. Have a good show. I hope
you do what the kids say and live your best life.
That's what I'm going to. Fat life.
Moving on to some more pressing news. Do we want to do Louis C.K. or do we want to do the Madden tournament? Where do you want to go?
I mean, if we had to pick one or the other, I think we should do the Madden tournament.
Okay.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it's almost a week at this point.
Yeah.
There was a big EA Sports Madden tournament. EA is the game developer for the infamous Madden football game that comes out every year. They also do any of the 2K sports are by EA, basketball, hockey, baseball, etc. So they had the new Madden. Is it 2018 or 2019? I think
it's 2019. It's always a year ahead. It's like car models.
So it's a year ahead, even though the football season's in 2018. It's 2019.
I think so, because like the football season of this year ends in 2019. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like how it starts in October and ends next year. So I think it's like if you buy a Camry now, it's like the 2019 Camry, because they're trying to get rid of all the 2018s to make room for the 2019s. You know, it's like that kind of thing.
Come down to Auto Mall.
They're just throwing old Xbox 360 games everywhere. Get this crap out of here. The 2019 is coming. It is Madden 19, correct.
Make way, hot garbage coming through.
So the game came out not too long ago, and like any other game that's popular and successful, they have tournaments, and people go and play the tournaments, have a lot of fun, what have you. And this is a little bit of a different tournament, because it's not just gamer guys. These are also people who are sports fans. So you got sports gamers down there enjoying it, who love football, who love playing Madden, all competing down at the convention center down in Jacksonville, Florida.
It is a different gamer demographic. Like I know people who are just into like Madden, FIFA, stuff like that, who would never play Overwatch, for example, right? But they're just as hardcore about Madden and FIFA as the Overwatch guys are about Overwatch.
They know more stats about the football players than I know about Pokemon.
There you go.
One of the guys around here is he plays hockey all the time, and all he does is play the hockey games.
Yeah,
like he's a big gamer, but he only plays
hockey.
The hockey games. He doesn't play anything else. Yeah. So again, this is a different type of demographic that's down there for this tournament. And they were live streaming like they do now. I don't know if it was on Twitch or on an EA feed or wherever it was streaming. So you get to see a lot of the games, especially when they were getting down to the elimination areas of people playing to whoever's going to win the tournament. And one of the most unspeakable things happens where you're watching the game and then all of a sudden you start hearing gunshots.
Yep.
And it was all live on Twitch.
Oh, it was
streamed,
Twitch. Okay.
Yeah, it was live streaming on Twitch.
So you hear they have announcers. You have the people playing who are talking into their headsets, but you also have announcers like you were watching a sports game, and they're calling the game that's being played, and all of a sudden they're like, you can hear them a little bit disbelief, less confident as when they're calling the game. They're like, what is going on? And then you hear another gunshot clear. You just hear a controller drop, the headphones running, and then people running and screaming.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's horrific audio.
Because when you hear the controller drop, the screen goes. You know, when your remote turns off, it pops up right away. It says you lost connection with your controller.
Right.
So you hear the controller drop, which you thought was a gunshot, not a gunshot, because right after that, there's the pause where everybody stops talking. Then you start hearing all the gunshots.
Right.
So everybody, the stream's still going. Nothing is happening on the stream. You're just hearing everything. And it turns out it was a guy who was competing in the tournament.
Right.
He somehow smuggled a weapon in with him, and he shot 2 people who eliminated him from the tournament.
Correct.
And he shot a bunch of people. Let me paraphrase.
Yeah, he shot a lot of people.
Shot a lot of people, but killed 2. One or both of those guys were part of the team or the people he was competing at that eliminated him from the tournament.
Right.
And as more and more information came out, it started to seem a bit more premeditated, because not only did he have the gun, which is already premeditated, but he was looking at those particular guys anyway.
Oh, sure.
Like they had found proof that he was researching or studying or something with those particular guys. Then a video clip came out where you see them talking, and then a laser comes on the one guy's chest before the shooting goes, and nobody notices it. They're just sitting there looking at a screen. It's a video camera looking at people who are now looking off to the right down at a television screen.
And when the red dot comes on, they're like actually just fading back to game footage, like on the Twitch feed, and that's when you start hearing the shots, and that's when everything cuts out. Now I don't know if it was like an actual like red dot laser or if it was just like a light.
Was it a handgun though?
Yeah, he had a handgun.
I said. I don't know. That's why I don't know if it was like a laser thing.
Yeah, if that was just coincidence. Yeah, but
I don't even know if people use that outside of movies, to be honest.
But I mean, they sell laser scopes. I know people who hunt that use them, but that's normally on a rifle, not on a handgun. That doesn't say you can't use it on a handgun, but I think it's normally on a rifle. But either way, you know, I was thinking about this story when it happened the other day, and you know, immediately all the gun stuff, you know, that came up.
Just waiting to boil up. Yep.
Yeah. And lots of stuff about, you know, toxic masculinity came up as well. And you know, I agree with that to a certain degree. I get it. But really, I was thinking about it as a dad, right? And I wasn't thinking about it from the horror angle of like, God, I hope I never have to experience this, or God, I have to teach my kid how to protect himself in that kind of situation. What I was thinking about was this really is, you know, and this is really a result, or this kind of behavior I think is at least partially a result of years of not teaching kids how to fucking lose and deal with loss. Like,
I was definitely thinking about that too. I was just like, people don't know how to lose. Like, you just lose, and it's like, fuck everybody. Like,
yeah, like, and I mean, look, everybody knows my views on this show pretty well. I mean, I don't consider myself a conservative. I'm fairly liberal, but in that regard, right, in that kind of push, because I know a lot of people attribute that sort of behavior to the liberal side of things. That is tremendously detrimental. And that's what causes this kind of shit. You know, well, like the guy that there was a guy that just killed his girlfriend recently too, right?
The guy who killed his like wife and 2 kids?
No. There was a guy, or he didn't kill his girlfriend. There was a guy that just killed a woman recently, and it was pretty much because she rejected him, right?
Oh yeah, I heard. No, there was like that jogger, right? There, she was like murdered by that Spanish guy.
No,
yeah, right. And he was pursuing her, and she rejected him. Wasn't that what that was?
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Like he was like chasing her or something like that, and he was like, oh, you know, like trying to lure her in, and then when
Iowa,
she like
Idaho.
Yeah,
Iowa.
But my point is, you have all of these people that don't know how to handle losing, and they don't know how to handle loss, and so they figure out a way to lash out.
Molly Tibbetts, that was the girl, the one from Iowa.
Now they shouldn't be able to lash out by, you know, shooting up a video game, and that's part of the conversation as well. But it's really just it's scary to think that we don't teach kids how to lose anymore.
I totally agree with you in that, because that was the first thing I thought. Like when they said that the story was that he lost and came back and killed people, the first thing in my head was just like, okay, well this, like, people just don't know how to lose. But then as more information came out, like this guy was like really fucked up. Like I don't know if you read any of the news reports that came out on him, but like the police were called to his house in Baltimore 26 times. Like he was locked up in a mental facility. The dad refused to get him treatment for mental health because he was having a divorce with the wife and thought his wife was making it up to get more alimony out of him. Like there was like a lot of crazy shit that happened with this. And there's actually video footage from the tournament of the announcers with him on camera, like talking about him before he played. And they're like, this guy's really serious. He doesn't really talk to anybody. He is just here to win. He doesn't like to lose. And
they found old footage of him at other tournaments.
But so I mean, maybe in this particular case, it wasn't 100% that, but I still think that plays a part of it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it played a part in it, but like my whole thing is like with all these warnings, all this stuff, and he was still legally allowed to get a gun.
Right.
You
well,
know, like,
how
does that happen?
Right. That's always part of the conversation.
And that's like that's the thing. And like he wasn't even from Florida. He was from Baltimore. He drove down there or something. Like he wasn't even from the state.
Right. And the other news part of that was that when they did the search about the guns, he lawfully had the guns. Like he went through the whole process in Maryland. He qualified for everything. I think they even fingerprinted him.
Yeah.
He purchased the guns legally and just brought them down. My bigger question is not now that we know he got them legally. Okay, you can't do anything about that. How did he get them in there? Because we go to Comic-Con and other conventions. They're constantly wanding you and you going through detectors.
Because this wasn't at a convention. Wasn't it at like a bar?
It was at like a bar or something.
It was at a bar.
I thought it was at a
No, it was at a bar. The bar was hosting the event.
A sports bar or something.
Yeah, the bar. It was a large bar, and they were hosting the event because one of the first things they said was now going forward, they have to look at ways to improve screening and security.
Okay, that answers.
So it wasn't in a convention
who knows if they
center.
even screened the contestants? They might have been screening visitors and not contestants. We like who knows?
Look, I'm not saying that as someone who has gone to conventions before where you're not supposed to have certain things inside the convention center, that as a vendor I'm able to get them in as opposed to a guest. I'm not saying I've done that, but you can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, look, all right, look.
I know what you're talking
every
about.
year I see like, cosplayers complaining online about like the weapons policies at Comic-Cons. Like, oh, they're neutering my weapon by making me lock the trigger or making me lock the sword so I can't unsheath it. It's like, dude, like you have a fucking weapon.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, like.
Okay, so when the shooting was going on, they kept showing this waterfront area of Jacksonville where it looked like the convention center was, right? So I thought that's where it was. And you're saying it's a bar. It's a pizza parlor called Chicago Pizza.
Yeah, but it's a pretty big place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big place right on the I guess a lake or an intercoastal somewhere
like
in there. Yeah, it looks like it would be part of a hotel convention center or something like that. So that's where they had the tournament there, which, by the way, is being sued as is EA by the survivors for not providing a safe environment for the tournament. I don't know if they'll win that, but is that something they have to do?
I think it was kind of proven that it wasn't safe.
Right.
So but where does that responsibility fall? I guess is where it comes down to.
But like. Okay, so they're suing EA.
They're suing EA and they're suing Chicago Pizza.
I don't think they should be suing EA. If you want to sue the pizza place because it's their venue,
the suit alleges that the venue was unsafe and that EA, quote in legal terms, failed to provide a safe and secure environment for the participants, among other complaints going on at the tournament.
Yeah, but for example, right?
But if this was like an EA sponsored thing. Like EA put out this tournament because it was a big thing on Twitch. So who knows? It could have been like run by EA and just at a bar.
But even still, what I'm saying is I don't know that EA is the one that's responsible for providing the security. I kind of feel like that's the venue's responsibility. I think EA is the bigger pocketbook, and that's why you go after EA from a lawsuit. But I don't agree with that. Like I remember the people who sued. The people who sued the hotel in Vegas.
Oh, right. They
right.
Yes.
And they lost that suit too.
Look, we had talked about that. I didn't think at that point the way that was, it wasn't a convention or a gathering. The concert wasn't at the hotel. It was down the street in a bigger lot. The hotel was just the place where people were staying. the hotel got sued because they said they should have had more security and whatever. But the thing was, with that guy in that particular case, over days, it wasn't just like he came in with all these bags and they didn't check him. Over days, he would just walk in with a bag through the lobby like anybody would. So there was no way to, it wouldn't be suspicious. But yeah, the hotel did get charged and get sued, but they did lose the case.
In this case, I don't think you sue. I don't think you should sue EA. Well, and if you do, I hope it gets tossed out. Like they're
going to sue everyone.
Of course,
they're listed for being negligent.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I'm saying personally, I don't agree with EA. You want to sue the venue for not providing security? I think that's on them.
Also, so there's 8 defendants listed in the lawsuit here. EA being one of them, the Jacksonville Landing Mall complex, the Pizza Parlor, Chicago Pizza, where the tournament took place. I don't know who else is being sued, but
I mean, you know who? I mean, I don't say this lightly, but I think in every single one of these cases where it happens, if there's a minor involved, and this kid was still a minor, right? He wasn't over 18, was he?
No,
he couldn't have been, right?
I think he was like 22 because he had the guns.
Oh, okay. But if he was over
24. He was 24 years old.
So why was the alimony thing was prior to this, I guess? Because I was thinking, why would the dad have to worry about alimony and child support on a 24-year-old?
Probably when he was growing up, either as a kid or a teenager.
Okay.
Yeah, he was 24 years old.
There was definitely something in there about like a lawsuit with the mom, and he was saying he wasn't getting him the mental health treatment he needed because he thought the mom was making it up to get more money out of him from the divorce settlement.
Once the shooting happened, again, horrific, and you, even though it happens, and a lot of people may be numb to it, I don't know, it still always surprises me when you see it show up on television again, like it catches you off guard, like, what, another one?
Or it's usually when you go on Twitter and you just see everyone typing, oh shit, and you're like, you have to go on the news and you're like, what happened now?
Yeah, well, you got to find a feed and see what the information is coming in.
Go to the trending hashtags.
Yeah. When something like this happens, the first thing is they want to see, is everyone okay? Is there a lot of carnage? What's the live news footage from the incident? Then the second thing is everybody blames guns. Right. The third thing here, where I started to get a little concerned about, was, is this going to be the thing that's going to screw up video games? Because now they're going to say video games caused this again, because they've been trying forever saying video games cause violence, video games cause all this, and they have not been able to prove it. There's no psychological examination.
I still don't think they prove it because you have violence as a result of every single thing at this point. You have violence because of regular sporting events. You have violence because of music. You have violence because of video games. At some point, all of those things have to be removed as the denominator because they're no longer common. You have violence because of mental health issues. Right. You have violence because of gun control issues. You have violence because of whatever it is, but it's not all these other contributing things. There are too many of them.
Yeah, I know. And
you have violence because people are alive. I mean,
well, the thing is, like, if video games are causing like mass violence like this, then like Korea would be a bloodbath because they have like the most gamers in the world. Like China, like all these countries would be fucking bloodbaths, and they're not.
They're not.
They just have different gun laws.
And also,
is what it comes down
to. Especially with this game, it's not a shooting game. Like if this happened at a Call of Duty tournament, I'd be like, that could be problematic. Yeah. But it happened at a Madden tournament. Like,
I'm not trying to knock sports people here, but like there's a lot of rage in like that community too.
Right, but what I'm saying is it's a lot easier to try to say that gun violence could be as a direct result of Call of Duty, right? Because that's what they say, that you become desensitized to it. It's hard to say that you got desensitized to gun violence by playing Madden. Is what I'm saying. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or if anything, I'm sure like the politicians will use it and be like, well, they're just doing it because the kneeling thing, or they would find something to turn it around so that it wasn't about like violence. It would be like, oh, it's about sports, it's about this. It would anything to change the topic.
As I was saying, my concern is that they would start blaming video games for this, which would be one more step away from whatever really is the problem with these shootings. It's just something else to muddy the waters where now see, video games are the problem. It's like, no, it's not. You're just, grandstanding with this to try to get away from the gun issue, to get away from the mental health issue, to get away from all the other issues that build up to when these scenarios happen. The video games being thrown into it, I was like, this is just going to prevent any more progress from being done because now it's going to cause problems. Look, Rockstar's got Red Dead Redemption coming out in about less than 2 months now,
Yeah.
which is a great game. It's an open world game. It's a violent game. They also are the makers of Grand Theft Auto, which has constantly been putting out brand new updates to keep the game fresh. All you need is, a quick flash mob of lobbyists and maybe convincing politicians. Then it comes down on the gaming industry. I'm like, you're attacking the wrong problem.
Of course.
And so far it hasn't, thank God. But I thought it was going to go in that way to go against the gaming industry. I'm like, you're ignoring the situation.
You're
at
quite
hand.
literally putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did a really good episode of Penn and Teller bullshit about like video
I
games
love
and
that
like
show,
gun
yeah.
violence.
Yeah.
And they did an episode like that where there was like some kid who played a lot of violent video games and he was just like, yeah, I want to shoot a gun and stuff like that. And then they like bring him down to a shooting range and they give him a gun. He pulls the trigger once and just breaks down in tears and just starts crying.
I forgot about that.
And it was
yeah.
like, I felt bad. I was like, oh, did they just like fuck this kid up? Like, what did they do to this poor child? But like, yeah, I think it's not everyone who plays these games are gonna pick up anything and just go start shooting
not
people.
everybody who has a gun is a lunatic either. Like I know plenty of.
My dad's got millions of guns.
Yeah,
He's fucking fine.
I know plenty of like responsible gun owners that go hunting and all that. Like, so I'm not against gun ownership or anything like that.
I go hunting. Like, I don't have any problems with it. I just think there's crazy people who shouldn't be able to get them.
Right. Right. It just comes down to the mental health issue 9 times out of 10, I think. But
I mean,
anyway.
if you even look at pictures of this kid too, and it's just like, I hate to say it, but he has like that same like mass shooter look, like the skinny face, the sunken eyes, like there's a look that like a lot of these guys have.
To
and
take
it's like
a line
really
from
weird.
Jaws, I'm not trying to be funny, but it's like lifeless eyes, like a doll's eyes. You look at them, and it's like there's nothing behind those eyes.
It's something weird, and it's like it's only unique to that situation. Like I've never seen that face on other people. You know what I mean? It's always after like a mass shooting, and maybe it's just like the reality of what they did, and they just can't. There's no emotion because they're in shock. I don't know, but there's definitely something going on here, and it has a lot more to do with mental health than it does video games.
I concur.
So that's what's the latest that's going on with that situation right now. As they're still people trying to pull their lives, put their lives back together after this, and they're still trying to sort everything out here. The latest has been that the survivors are filing lawsuits against the venue, against EA and such. And we'll follow this story and see what's going on with it as it goes forward. Do we want to do Louis C.K.? Do we want to just go to the entertainment stuff and get out of here?
I mean, I don't know. The Louis C.K. is kind of like a powder keg. I don't know how I feel about it. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. Whatever you want to do. It's up to either way, it doesn't bother me.
I'll say this. I've known Louis for many years.
Sure.
He's always been cool to me. I'm not friends with him, but I've had, I guess, would be professional interactions with him because of him coming on the Opie and Anthony show, and then him doing the Virus tour with us, and then comedy stuff with Norton and the guys from the show. So Louis showed up at the Comedy Cellar in New York City, which is one of the most famous comedy showcases in Manhattan. Legendary. It's got an extensive history. And he showed up unannounced, talked to the MC, who was the host of the show, and said, could I go on there? Now, when you go to the Comedy Cellar, or if you go to, maybe not Caroline's as much, but if you go to maybe Gotham.
Gotham, probably.
People, bigger comics, if they got to go do a talk show appearance, or if they have a special coming up, they'll sneak in unannounced to different things.
And they'll say,
sets. You'll be watching something, and then the MC will come out and goes, ladies and gentlemen, we got a real treat for you. This is unannounced. Please welcome Chris Rock. And he'll come out and he'll do 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes or something. And you're like, oh my God.
Holy shit.
You're like, Chris Rock's here. Or Robin Williams used to show up out of nowhere. Amy Schumer does. Amy Schumer made news with our pal Brendan. He walked up
off the stage.
Yeah, she kicked him off right when he came on to do his set. She's like, can I do 20 minutes? And she's like, okay. And then everybody gave Amy shit. It's like, he just got on stage and then you're kicking him off. But things like that. Go ahead.
Say funny story about like surprise guests. My sister was a waitress at Gotham Comedy Club, and one time she called me up and she's like, hey Brian, we got a special guest who came in tonight. I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy. His name is George Carlin, and I just like yelled at her on the phone. I was like, do not let anyone at the comedy club hear what you just said to me over this phone.
I disavow owning you. Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that happens. They just show up, like Eric said. They need to work out some material, and
that's part of the fun.
They're gonna bump a smaller person for anyone bigger.
That's part of the fun. It's part of the atmosphere. It's part of the magic of living in New York or Los Angeles. Those are really the two places. You're not in Toledo,
right?
Where maybe Voss is out there, and you're like, because you heard him on the radio, and then all of a sudden Voss, before Voss comes on, Andrew Dice Clay wants to do 5 minutes. It's like
it's Chuckle Hut.
Yeah, it's not happening. But when you're in New York and LA, this tends to happen, and they're great surprises because you never know who's going to show up.
Yeah, my buddy was at Bell House last night, and John Mulaney just showed up and did a bit. That happens.
The last time I saw that happen was last time I did the Chip Chipperson show.
Yeah.
They tape on a Tuesday, and I was with Brian Johnson from Tell 'em Steve Dave Comic Book Men. So he wanted to go and see Norton because he hadn't seen Norton in a while. So we finished Chip show, which is near there, and then we went to the Comedy Cellar to watch the set. Right after Norton was done, special guest Ray Romano shows up,
nice.
and I saw him in the hallway and everything. He was a very nice guy, very a pleasure to talk to. So Ray Romano showed up, and like, holy shit, it's Ray Romano. It's those kind of things that you enjoy that these people come in there. So Louis does what comics do, and especially Louis being of a certain stature. Who says no? It's a courtesy, a showing a bit of respect. They come in, work 5 minutes, and then get out of there because it just makes the night more special. So he shows up. So it's not one of those nights per se. It's now more of a historical event that Louis showed up. And he did about 10 minutes around there.
I remember,
Didn't address anything that was going on because of his outing, I guess, from the Me Too movement.
Right.
Didn't address any of that stuff. Did a set, got a standing ovation or a solid ovation, maybe not standing.
I think there was only one person who complained.
Right, because the next day, one of the publications talked to the gentleman that owns the Comedy Cellar.
Right.
And he said, no, I wasn't there. I was home sleeping at the time. This is what happens with comics. He asked the MC, could he go up there? He went up there, did a few minutes. So one person complained saying, I didn't know what to do. I felt uncomfortable that he was there and he just showed up. And
he said it felt like an ambush.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Which I think that's stretching, but whatever. So it was one complaint. As time went on and they kept making a big deal about, well, what was his material? What was he doing? And then the debate of should he be allowed to be on stage and be a comedian again at all, which is a lot of the movement.
Right.
Diatribe, if you will, where they just like, well, if you're accused of something, you cannot exist again. You're like, you need to be erased. Or if WWE reference, deleted.
That's right.
So Louis does this thing, then they find out what his set was, and apparently he did a joke about, he does wordplay and weird little things, and he says, the phrase clean as a whistle. What's going on with it? It's like, where is a whistle clean? Have you ever seen a clean whistle? Something like, unless you buy it, like, have you ever seen your gym teacher's whistle, all this stuff. He brings up a rape whistle and saying how disgusting that is. He's like, I'm not touching that because you don't know where it's been. Like that, whatever the context of his joke.
Did he call it a rape whistle?
He said a rape whistle. This is what is being reported. I was not there. I didn't
hear any of the jokes.
But I was going to say, I didn't hear any of
the line that's being reported is that he threw a rape whistle into the description of the bit.
Right.
And now that's caused even more of an uproar. Two more ladies said that, because they're the one that went to the press to tell them what Louis said. And then it's still this whole big deal now that some comics said, look, he, compared to what everybody else has done in this, what is being accused through the Me Too movement, not that it was good, but it was nowhere near the levels of what like Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey and other people were doing.
I'm sorry, I'm just reading the rape whistle, but yeah.
No, it's okay.
I'm trying to find the actual text if I can find it.
So, it was bad, but it wasn't to the bad level of the other things that have been going on. And Louis had been out of the spotlight, out of comedy for, 9 months now? Something like that. And
9 months.
Because he went on stage, people were outraged that he was even allowed back on stage, especially since he didn't address anything or apologize. Now, my thought on this was that in that surprise 15 minutes, because he's a comic by nature, he's been doing it all his life. So that's what comics do. They show up here and there to test out material. That doesn't seem like the when he does a little surprise thing where he should be doing the full explanation and apology,
But,
Should he have maybe done it before doing these little surprise sets? That's up for debate. That could be what should have happened.
I think he should have done something.
In that surprise 15 minutes to a crowd of maybe 100 people, he should have made a public apology like that.
So here's look.
He made an apology back in the day.
So what he did was obviously despicable. I agree. I mean, if you have to. You shouldn't have to rate it, but if you had to rate it,
it's on the lower end.
What he did was far less worse than other people did, but that doesn't make it any less
But he's still
despicable.
he admitted to masturbating in front of 5 people, not letting them leave the room, and then holding their careers over their heads, which is really fucked up. Like,
did he admit to holding their careers over their heads?
Oh,
I don't remember that
he
part.
blocked. Okay. Yeah, like there was whole stories about how he stop them from progressing in their careers.
Yeah, I didn't realize this.
I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize this either until recently that his manager at the time, or back in the day, even made an apology because he went in and confronted some of these people to. Which I mean, isn't much just let it go. Don't complain about it. Kind of. It wasn't extortion.
I
it wasn't
apologize.
blackmail.
I didn't realize that was part of it. Well, look. I mean. Should he have said something? Maybe. He did apologize.
Some people think his apology that he did back in November of 2017 wasn't good enough.
Right. Yeah.
It's like he was apologizing in the sense of, well, I'm sorry that I got in trouble for it. Not, I'm sorry I did it. It's I'm sorry I got in trouble for it.
his apology, he didn't say that, though. His apology was like, I'm sorry about if I ruined the... I mean... I don't know. Should he have said something? Yeah, maybe. I guess.
I don't know. I think after the 9 months, the fact that he hasn't said really anything other than his apology since the 9 months, I haven't heard of him doing anything and being like, well, you know what, I fucked up. I'm gonna donate some time and I'm gonna help these causes. I haven't heard about him doing anything like that, and I think. Paul F. Tompkins had a pretty good tweet where he's like, for somebody who goes on stage and completely is naked with their foibles as a human being, to not bring up something like this is very telling. Because he talks about everything.
Right.
He talks about his kids. He talks about his body shapes. He talks about how fat and ugly he is. He talks about his shit. And for him to not talk about it was very telling. And I think if maybe he had done some work in the 9 months to towards some sort of organization, you know what, I fucked up. I'm gonna help these comedians who I fucked over, do something, and then came on stage and was like, yeah, I have to address the elephant in the room, which is me. I think it would have been a lot different reception. I think there's definitely a road back for redemption for people. I don't think people should be completely outcast for the rest of their lives, but I also think they have to show that they're doing something other than just sitting in a corner for 9 months and being like, okay, can I come out now? And that's what it kind of felt like.
Yeah, I get you. I feel you. I feel what you're saying. I don't disagree with that.
I just think he hasn't done anything really, I don't. That's to me. That's my personal take on it.
No, I think I agree with you though. That makes sense.
But I don't know. I think he should have addressed something. I mean, it's just if he murdered somebody and got on stage and didn't talk about it, people be like, yo, you remember when he killed somebody? That was really weird. You know what I mean? It would be kind of odd to not talk about the biggest thing that's ever happened in his career. A movie of his was shelved. They stopped a movie from going to production. This wasn't a small thing. And I think the reason why the Louis thing I think hits so hard is because he always he seemed like he was one of the allies, he would never do something like this because of the way he talked about how men are the biggest threat to women, and then it turns out that he was one of these people.
He was a predator.
So it was, I think it was kind of throwing back in the face of everything he said in his comedy.
He was hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, kind of. I think one of the comedians, I think it was Jen Kirkman, the one who was really affected by him, was just every time I watch one of his specials, it's him talking about who he is but saying it's someone else, and it was him doing little confessions, basically of things that he fucked up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's an interesting situation, and it's really fucked up. I don't think the comedy club should be held for anything. I don't think.
No, especially and I'll tell you why I don't think comedy clubs.
I don't think
comedy sellers should be held.
I don't think think they are.
No, well.
Oh no, people are putting out boycotts of Comedy Cellar on Twitter.
So for example,
Jesus.
let's say he had gotten up there and did an apology tour.
Yeah.
15 minutes of apology, self-deprecation, recognizing it, and trying to move on. Right. the Comedy Cellar, when he goes up there, they have no idea what he's going to talk about. So it's entirely plausible that they think, oh shit, this guy's a comedian that talks about his entire life. This might be the moment where he gets up and addresses people for the first time in 9 months. Right? They don't know what he's going to do or not going to do. How do you hold them responsible?
And then you're the comedy club that had Louis' big heartfelt apology, like stand up, 15-minute routine where like he came clean about everything or something like that. And that was like really like rolling the dice on that one if that was your angle,
I mean, I don't think they should be held responsible. All they did was let him on stage. But the people that want to hold them responsible are the people that don't think he should ever work again, ever.
Yeah, and a lot of those people I don't see, not to change the whole Me Too subject, but I don't see a lot of those people throwing Asia Argento out there at all either.
Of course not.
Crazy shit with
you
her.
weren't here when we discussed this, where Gittles was reading this one thing where Rose McGowan said, "Well, you got to have patience, and while we explore what this is, be gentle." It's like, no, it's like I'm not saying that you should go for blood for this lady, but look. Look at how you reacted to all of these things.
But didn't Rose McGowan, didn't she change her tune a little bit? Didn't she go after?
She did.
She went after. Yeah.
But I'm saying she changed her tune. I don't think because she thought better of it. It was because she got such a public lambasting.
Oh, okay.
Because her statement was, like Gittles said, be gentle, be understanding while we try to figure this out.
Right.
No. You call for blood for everybody on the other side that you're accused, and maybe rightfully so. But live by the sword, die by the sword, where all of a sudden somebody that was in your own ranks who all of a sudden is just as bad as, or potentially just as bad as some of the people you're accusing. And then you go, well, wait, we got to calm down. Let's not get crazy because it's one of your own. You started this movement. You started that culture. You're now a victim of it.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Correct. And I don't mean victim taking away from people who have been assaulted. I mean victim of the precedents that you put out there is now being used against you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But also, like, Rose McGowan did say all that stuff, like, be gentle, we don't have all the information. But then, once she did get all the information, she was like, yeah, this is a crime. And like she came out and did denounce her.
Right.
And the person that Rose McGowan is currently dating said that he saw the pictures on her phone of like the boy when he was 12, when he was sexting her, and was basically like, I'm going to go to the police because this is against the law.
Right.
Yeah.
So like they did come out and be like, once they found the information, we're like, no, this is not cool, and they did distance themselves. And like, I mean, I'm not trying to change the topic from Louis, but like that's just as fucked up, and I don't see as many people complaining about the Louis thing complaining about that.
Right.
And I'm all on the scale of what's bad is bad, and it doesn't matter which side did it. If it's bad, it's bad.
Hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's always going to be a factor because a lot of the comics are like, I don't really know if Louis should be treated that bad because they know Louis. That's their world. Same thing with Asia Argento, where people, I don't know, because she's on their side in that world. It's always going to be a factor until everybody realizes, like this, like Gittles said, this is bad. You gotta let go your personal connection to it and deal with the issue at hand.
But this is not to take away horrible, blah blah blah. I'm not trying to take away anybody's, whatever happened to them is terrible. I agree with all that stuff. But this kind of behavior though is very typical. Like whenever you see a story, it's cliche to present this as the evidence, but it's true. Whenever you see the story about, the male teacher who gets into an affair with a female student, the reaction is always significantly different than the female teacher who gets into an affair with a male student.
Correct.
Yeah, the news reports are always like, oh, what a lucky guy. And then
right,
it's just
exactly.
Like, what if it's the young boy, but if it's a young girl, it's just like, look at that creep teacher. And it's the same situation.
Well, it's the same situation.
Fucked up situation.
Maybe not, because we used to always talk about the hot teacher that would get arrested. You see the mug shots. And like you said, in a cliche guy point of view, we're like, it's like, what kid is blabbing about this that your hot teacher is having sex with you?
Yeah.
We're making light of this situation, even though it's bad. But you look at the hot teacher and it's like, all right, well, is she going to get off because she's hot? Or look at the mugshot here. Is she ugly? Is she going to do hard time? But the female teachers do get it just as bad as the male teachers.
Now, see,
you don't think so?
No, and
I don't think so.
And I don't mean from a legal standpoint.
I think more of them get arrested for it.
So
social media.
So I think female, male, they get arrested equally.
Okay.
But in the eyes of the law, they're treated the same. That part I will not
argue. Court of public opinion.
However, in the court of public public opinion,
Gotcha.
it is looked at significantly different still, right? And again, I'm not trying to change
You're fair.
but I'm just saying what Gittles is saying is right. Like in the court of public opinion, it's looked at different. Like Terry Crews has been a pretty big outspoken person on the male end of the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
And his story, even when it gets a little bit of pop, it fades again real fast. He does not get the same kind of...
Because it's a guy and a guy.
Correct. He doesn't get the same kind of coverage or push that everybody else does in the court of public opinion.
Right.
Not in the eyes of the law.
He does get the benefit of the doubt, though, that the men will give him that they won't give the women in the court, and the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? In the court of public opinion, like dudes will totally believe a dude who's like, "Yeah, I was molested by another dude," because I think in male psychology, it's just like
why
that's
would
not
you
something you would
admit
ever
that?
talk about that.
Yeah. Right.
And if you're talking about it, it must mean it really happened. It must mean it's really fucked up.
Right.
You know.
Anyway,
No, you're completely right. It is based on the situation, and
it's different, and it's I don't know. I think what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong.
I concur.
Well, with Louis, this is what's happening. This is where we're at this time that we're doing the show here. There's a lot of outrage and a lot of support online for Louis. Where Michael Ian Black put out something.
But Michael Ian Black, his thing was very wishy-washy, though, Michael Ian Black's tweet.
And he is very wishy-washy.
He put out a lot of retraction tweets since then, too.
Yes.
And he has been like, I have been
hammering
schooled. He's like, I opened my mouth when I shouldn't have. I have been schooled. I have learned a lot from this. Like,
and not too long ago, he was being, accused of stuff, too, from Michael... what's his name? The guy who brought down James Gunn. Michael...
Oh, Cernovich?
Yeah, well... So it's like... Because that was my first thing, even though he was sort of in support of, like, I can understand comics saying a comic should be able to make a living. I get that. But when Michael said it, I was like, you just kind of skated publicly. I'm not saying legally, but publicly, you kind of skated from those accusations from Michael Cernovich.
Yeah.
And now you're going to come out on another, heavily charged conversation that's going out there. Yeah. He got it. Michael Che said, that Louis should be able to do stand-up, and if you're wondering why Michael Che or who Michael Che is, why this is a big deal, yes, he's a stand-up comic. He runs, he's the co-host of Weekend Update. He's a head writer for Saturday Night Live. Him and Colin Jost are hosting the Emmys.
Right.
They're going to be, so he's a big deal. So if he's saying like that, it got TMZ's attention, which it's weird nowadays where TMZ is, you think of TMZ of being a little gossipy, whatever. But in many cases, TMZ is a legitimate news source now for anything. It's not just the Hollywood gossip stuff that the National Enquirer used to be known for, the Inquisitor, all those things.
Boy.
Yeah, because if they put something up there and you go, TMZ's got it, oh no, that can be used against me, and every media outlet will take it as a legit news piece.
Yeah.
Because they have that reputation now. I don't know what's next for Louis. I think at some point he's going to have to come out and speak, and I don't think like doing it on a talk show. Maybe if he does a recorded piece, or maybe he comes out and it speaks at I don't know, would a women's event even have him come out, allow him to come out and say his piece or something, or
maybe
something maybe moderated. I don't know, but he's got to do something before he's allowed to take those steps as far as the public opinion goes, and allowing him to do that.
Comedians and cars getting coffee.
I was going to say, I think just before he speaks, he just needs to listen more, to be honest. Like, I just don't know if it's like...
Well, that's what he said. He was going to take time to listen, because he's been speaking. I think his thing in his apology was like, I've been speaking my whole life. Now it's my it's my turn. I need to listen.
Yeah, well, I think he needs to. Like, if he didn't, I don't know. I just think that if he didn't see this reaction coming, then like he hasn't been paying attention. Like that's my whole thing. Like I don't think there was a way he could have done this unless he had like really put in some legwork to show that he was trying to, be a better person.
All right, let's move on. Looking at the box office from the past week, the top 5, Crazy Rich Asians, number 1 with $25 million. Number 2, The Meg, which Gittles saw and says is a piece of shite. Right. Number 3, the adult Muppet movie, Happy Time Murders, came in at 3rd, only making $10 million. I don't know if they had a full rollout for the movie or not.
I heard it was really bad.
Oh, okay. Oof. All right, then that's not good. Doing well, number 4, Mission Impossible Fallout, which is like the 5th or the 6th one. And also Christopher Robin's, Disney's live-action Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
holding in a strong 6.3 million there. Nothing really coming out this weekend because it's Labor Day weekend.
I don't think anything's coming out this weekend.
Nothing that I see of interest here. Next weekend, there's one movie that looks interesting because I don't know if it's in the vein of like the Conjuring movies called The Nun.
Oh yeah, it's made by the same people I think from like The Conjuring or like one of those like the spooky like witch haunting type movies.
Right, because it's investigating a church. What do they call it? Like a fallen church. It's something where they've lost communication with the parish, and they needed somebody to go and investigate what happened there, why the Catholic Church is not present in this area, and then it has to deal with, I guess, a possessed nun or a spirit, a demon, whatever.
Yeah,
one of those creepy things that
exactly.
don't look. If you look left, they turn right, and they're right there. It's one of those the jump cut movies. So there's
not a single jump scare in the Meg.
Other stuff with movies. Matt brought this to my attention before the show. There's a Wile E. Coyote movie coming out.
And I actually think the premise behind it is funny. So the premise behind the movie is it's not going to involve the Roadrunner. The premise of the movie is that Wile E. Coyote has finally given up chasing the Roadrunner and is now going after Acme for having provided him with years of bad products.
So he's filing a lawsuit against Acme?
No, it's more like one coyote's revenge scheme against Acme. Finally. You know, fuck them for giving the Roadrunner the fake hole in the tunnel and the anvil and the dynamite.
Turns out Wiley had a trust fund that he milked all these years to try to get the Roadrunner. He's in destitute, and he's lost millions of dollars to the Acme Corporation, and he's seeking revenge. He needs his ends.
Yeah.
And then he gets to court and they're like, there was no Roadrunner. You dreamed all of this up, Mr. Coyote.
I think they should do somewhere in there should be a joke like Coyote Ugly. Call it Coyote Acme.
Coyote Acme.
He just walks into a bar and there's just like hot coyotes dancing or something. Something along
This just got
lines.
really weird, Eric. This is a weird movie.
I was going to say, this
went from suing Acme to stripper wolves on a bar like in 10 seconds.
That was supposed to be the last season of True Blood. But it got canceled before they got that far.
Man, we had this whole
party.
They were going to do Achy Breaky Heart while dancing on the bar. It was all coyotes and doing the boot scooting boogie. Moving on with Disney has some news involving Guardians of the Galaxy 3. They've officially suspended indefinitely the production for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which means they're not making the movie. They're not letting everybody out of their contracts, though. They are. It seems to be that they're giving them a grace period where they're allowing because they can't keep the crew and the staff for the movie on there all the time, not making money.
Correct.
So they're allowing them to go out and seek other adventures to make a living. Because, look, when you work on a TV show or a movie, even if your show lasts 9 seasons, you're still independent contractors. Yeah. You're not paid employee of... per se, you're not a paid employee of the production company making the thing. You're a contracted employee. So if they're not in production, that kind of negates your agreement. So they have to let you go make a living. So they lost the cast. A portion of the cast and crew had to go and do other things. And that was Disney saying, look, we understand you need to go make a living, and do that. I don't know where they stand with the actors with their agreement.
They weren't released from their contract.
Right.
But they were released from the production schedule.
Okay.
Meaning the same thing. So for example, if they have another movie that's in the works that perhaps was supposed to film after Guardians was done, they're allowed to film it now.
Okay.
Or first or whatever until
if they bring this movie back, they're still held to those contracts. Like, you need to come back to do this movie.
Correct. So they weren't released from their contracts, but they were released from the production schedule.
So
I think they were released from like a hold. Because when I worked in television, like if I was booked for a gig, they'd be like, I'm going to put you on hold for 2 weeks because we're going to need you in 2 weeks. So you can't book anything in that time. But if we don't need you when that time comes up, you're a free agent. Yeah. That's basically what it came down to.
So what happens now? Because former WWE superstar Dave Bautista, who plays...
Man, I want that guy in my corner if, God forbid, anything ever happens to me.
Dude, I think Batista should body slam Mike Cernovich. Like, I would watch that as like a UFC cage fight match. Like, that would be amazing.
I love that he has stopped going after Disney.
Well, that's what I was going to...
And now he's going after Mike Cernovich.
So Batista has been very vocal since the firing of James Gunn. He's even threatened Disney, said, if we're not going to even use his script, I want to be released of my contract. I don't even want to be a part of this production anymore, which is unheard of in Hollywood nowadays. You know, it's not like they fired Spielberg. James Gunn is a big figure, but not that big. Like, you can't move mountains kind of thing compared to Disney.
Yeah.
And Batista's like, I want to be let go if you don't use the script. And then Disney came around and said, look, we're going to be using the script. We just got to sort some other things out. And they put out the notice. The whole cast put out that thing on social media that they all
signed it.
Yeah, that they all stood behind James Gunn and they wanted him to come back for this. Disney had a courtesy meeting with James Gunn and still said, no, we're not going to bring you back. This isn't happening.
I'm shocked.
So Batista was going after Disney for a little bit, saying, this is wrong. What are you doing? Switched gears, like you had just said, and went after Michael Cernovich, where he wasn't like unjustly attacking him. He was bringing all this stuff up that people knew and were saying when Cernovich was going after James Gunn, Michael Ian Black, Patton Oswalt, Sarah Silverman, the list goes on. When he was on that rampage, they're like, do you not see the stuff where he was saying the N-word or making rape jokes and these other things here? Why isn't anybody paying attention to that? Batista's like, I don't give a shit, and I'm going to keep doing it. And he's just constantly been putting stuff out against this gentleman, saying, hey, Disney, your boy did this.
Yeah. There's
the gall and the nuts on a guy to do that.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for fucking him. And I got to tell you, you know me, like, I'm a Disney guy, right? I love the parks.
Get out.
I love the properties. Like, I don't shy from that. To me, this is absolute insanity on Disney's part. And there's got to be something else that we don't know about. There's got to be someone somewhere that is
holding on to something,
friends with Cernovich, or I don't think it's that they have more on Gunn than we know. There's got to be more to it. It's insanity on Disney's part.
I think they're just scared of the trolls.
But they shouldn't be.
But at some point,
they shouldn't be.
But at some point, right? At some point, they have to realize that the trolls that they're catering to are not as powerful as the trolls that they're pissing off.
No,
not at all.
Right, and not only that, but they put one of their biggest blockbuster franchises on the chopping block. Not only that, they put the entire future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe
on hold
because James Gunn was developing the entire next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe for them.
What else was he involved in besides Guardians? Was he doing something else?
Yeah, so he's doing the next phase.
The next phase of the Marvel Universe
was all under him.
Was going to be all like Captain Marvel was going to be heavily space.
No, I know where they're going the next.
He was going to be the Russo brothers without directing. He was going to be the lead-in. He was going to be the
like how they gave Rian Johnson the new Star Wars trilogy or whatever. Like that's like what he got.
He was going to be the consultant for the entire next phase.
I did not know that he was that involved
of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Wow.
There's got to be something else going on that's making Disney stick to their guns. It's got to be.
I think
it's
what
insanity.
It is. I think it's because these trolls are getting media attention now, and like as we've all said, the second if they try and hire him back, the news story across all right wing media and like all like conservative media is going to be Disney rehires pedophile, and that's all they're looking at is that headline because they know that no one's going to go past the headline. They know no one's going to dig deeper. They're just going to see the headline. Disney rehires pedophile, and that's it.
Well,
and that's what they're scared of.
I said this on Geek Stuff, and I got called out by a couple of people who were like, "You're not going to do that. You're fucking bullshit." I admit that I am eventually going to see Guardians 3. There's no way around it. Only because you're
going to have to.
I'm invested in the film franchise overall, and I'm invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, and I know I'm one person. Whatever, I will not see it in the theater. I'm saying it now. I will not see that movie in the theater
if they don't course correct.
If they course correct and they acknowledge the fact that there was whatever they made a mistake, that's different. I don't think they're going to course correct. So I'm saying right now, I will not go see.
Do you think if they do go ahead with Guardians 3, then they drop James Gunn's script? 2, if Batista leaves or other people leave, that they're just going to recast it and continue on like nothing happened?
I think they're going to try to, but that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that fan base is not a good fan base when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Right.
That fan base can't handle
It's not like somebody died and they had to replace the role where people would be willing to accept a new person in that role.
Right. That fan base can't handle someone being cast as Han Solo as a younger Han Solo. Like they want Harrison Ford to play young Han Solo. Like that fan base is not a mentally stable fan base at times.
No.
Well, it's the thing too. He's not like Cernovich hasn't been targeting good fan bases. When he was just like, "Oh, look at all this shit from Dan Harmon," I'm like, dude, people almost burned down McDonald's across the country for chicken McNugget dipping sauce. If you get that show canceled, they will string your whole family up from a bridge.
All you need is Justin to go into the studio and put out maybe a 30-second to a minute clip.
Yeah,
where Rick and Morty are saying, or whatever character they incorporate with it, saying anything about that guy. And then that's just the go-to, like, Mike on his property wakes up and there's a bunch of guys dressed as Pickle Rick, what was it, Craboculus Michael?
You know what?
They're all just sitting there waiting to kill him.
For fans who are longtime listeners, that's the equivalent of Serious Questions Only.
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, old school fans will appreciate that reference.
Longer.
But that's what that is. That is Serious Questions Only.
It is very much so. I just want to also point out when go ahead, Gittles.
Oh, and I was just gonna say, but like, I also don't know what other kind of backlash like Disney's been otherwise they've been facing. Because I know that Bobcat Goldthwait did some voices for like an upcoming ride or something like that. And when James Gunn got fired, he put out a letter and he's like, "I want my voice removed from everything that you guys put me in coming up." So like, I don't know how many other people did that to the point where they're like, maybe that's why they put the shooting on hold, because they're trying to find a way to bring James Gunn back, because other people involved with Disney not on this project are revolting.
I hope that is what it is. I hope that, they had a minor setback where they had to pause things because they're trying to figure out, like, maybe they're crunching the numbers, or they did crunch the numbers and see, like, look, here's our projected estimate. If we go without him, if we go without Batista, say Chris Pratt drops, all these people gone, and we recast, it may make, $500 million, but look at the other movies. The first one, which was an unexpected hit, they didn't know if it was going to be well received. As of today, the worldwide gross is $774 million
for Guardians 2.
One.
For one.
For 2 is $864 million. So 2 movies that weren't supposed to be hits because they're not. They are now, but they were not major characters when the first movie came out. They're just shy of $1 billion. Right. That's something you can't mess with.
And arguably, the things that made those movies successful were directly related to the cast and James Gunn. And no one at Disney made those movies successful.
No, because he had the right people in place when they picked the music that went along with it, because the soundtracks became their own entity.
Correct.
From that movie, when this movie was not supposed to be a success to begin with.
And remember, when you're dealing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you're no longer just affecting a single film and a single film franchise. You're affecting the entire. Even just
it's
forget
the
about
domino theory.
Forget about the director.
Mess with one, everything's going to collapse.
Forget the director. But even the characters. If you have to replace some of those actors, their role in every film from now on is tainted. And this isn't a small role. This isn't Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle. From Iron Man, right? This is like significant roles. So to me.
The only way they could fix it is be like, oh, well, we got everyone back from when Thanos killed him, but they're all just different people now. I don't know what happened.
To me,
would it be great if James Gunn showed up directing an episode of Empire?
Yeah, but it's shocking to me because Disney doesn't have a history of catering to trolls.
Yeah,
even Disney, who is traditionally normally fairly conservative, when they got the backlash all those years ago for Gay Day, for finally acknowledging Gay Day, which was an unofficial event but kind of became official.
Yeah,
even when they got all the backlash for that, they were like, we're an inclusive company. Like, and there are people in the right wing, the Parents Council, all went after Disney. We're going to boycott it. And Disney was just like, okay.
And it didn't do anything to them.
And it didn't do anything to them. So there's got to be something about this one thing that is making them stick to their gun, no pun intended. Like, I don't understand what it is. It's mind-boggling to me. But anyway, too much on this.
Yes, some TV updates. Bert Kreischer, his brand new special. Go out and watch it. It's on Netflix right now called Secret Time. It's very funny. I forgot I saw this. But Gittles just saw too. Jim Jeffries' special, his latest special on Netflix,
it's really
called "This
funny.
Is Me Now," is very good. You should check that as well. And if you haven't, I don't know if you're a big Norm Macdonald fan, Matt. He has a special called "Hitler's Dog, Gossip, and Trickery." Now, this special is so unique and different because it starts. You join the special and he's already been going. Like you see a little intro for the thing,
That's
and
weird.
his set's already going on. So you're joining it maybe like you just got there 5 minutes after it started.
Right.
That's how it is, and it goes from the little intro to him on stage telling the story. No formal introduction. You came in late, and it does the same thing when you leave. He's still going, and the special kind of ends.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? But it
works.
If it was anybody else but Norm Macdonald, you'd be like, this is, I don't know what they're
it's
doing
bizarre
here.
world.
But the fact it's like you showed up late and left early.
Yeah.
That's how you the whole feel of the special is.
pretty much my life.
It's very good. It's a very a lot of good material in there. But
That's Bizarre
you should
World.
check that out. I want to ask you, did you see the new Voltron 7?
I'm
season?
behind. I didn't even see last
It
season.
kind of snuck up on me. I
Yeah.
didn't realize it was out. I watched it. Oh my God. It is getting, like, every season has been better and better.
Isn't there only one season left?
I don't know.
I think
hope
I
not.
thought I heard there was only one season
I hope
left.
not, because this season
It wasn't canceled. I think they just plan on wrapping it up.
they made it back to Earth.
Right.
But for the last half of the season, there's no Voltron.
Yeah.
They're there. The Lions are there in a very minimal capacity, if used at all. Towards the end of the season, he's back, and then I'll leave it at there. But you're watching the whole episode. The breakdown of everything, what they're doing, is totally different than what they were doing on other seasons. And
Yeah.
it really does
Like
work.
I said, I missed all of last season. I realized today, or yesterday, sometime this week, I realized in the last, week or so, I've stopped watching television.
Because there's too much.
No, I realized I'm like 2 seasons
Welcome to
behind
my
on
world.
I'm 2 seasons behind on Preacher. I never watched any of Westworld last year. And it's not because
Wow.
I don't love the shows. Like I like all of those shows. I think at some point I just made a conscientious decision that there were other things I would rather spend my time doing or watch. Like I watch a lot of stuff that's like quick hits now, or I watch stuff on like Project Alpha, stuff like that, but I haven't watched regular television. Honestly, I haven't watched regular television in 6 months, 8 months.
Wow. Okay.
I don't even know what's going on TV.
Well,
Dude, once you leave it, like you don't miss it.
I don't miss it at all.
It's crazy. Like people are like, "Don't you miss these shows? You were really investing in these shows." I'm like, "No, I don't. I don't miss them."
Like I loved Preacher. I was in love with that show, and I'm 2 seasons behind.
I'll tell you.
I heard this last season was amazing.
It
I haven't
was
seen it.
amazing. I won't spoil anything for you.
The brothers are in it.
There's one thing I'll give away where they show a lot in
All
hell.
fathers in it.
yeah.
The devil, right? And they show his office, and you're looking at his office, and you go. They walk through this black void of a canyon, and a lot of fire, and just bones laying everywhere. So there's a lot of void, but there's fire. It's a weird combination of too much and not enough at the same time. You go into this little spike, and there's his office, and you look at this office, and you go, "This is the perfect interpretation of hell."
Yeah, I don't doubt
Because
it.
he's got this big, like presidential cherry oak desk.
Yeah.
And he's got the floor is all lava, like liquid fire.
Floor is lava.
He's got a nice bar.
Yeah.
And mirrored wall. It like you look at it, it looks like a creepy executive, but you're like, I never thought to portray hell this way. That is brilliant. That's how I'm going to envision it from now on. Yeah, the whole the devil in there. Hitler has a big rally at the end, or Hilter, sorry, David
yeah.
Hilter from Subway.
Yeah.
He has a big rally at the end there. The Saint of Killers really comes to life towards the end of it. The brothers and the grandmother.
Yeah, and I heard Allfather makes an appearance, so like I really want to catch up.
Allfather.
But-
Here's
but I'm
what they
also,
did.
Like, I don't care.
Allfather.
It's so weird.
Allfather has to be based the way they did it for the television show on the character from The Meaning of Life, Monty Python, because he has the same verbal inflection.
Yeah.
And every now and then he's got to puke into a bucket. I'm like,
Yeah.
So they're doing a nod to Monty Python
Yeah.
by making Allfather is this huge obese.
And he's not Louis Anderson. I was hoping Louis Anderson was going to be Allfather, and it's not.
No, but the way they did it is just all you can think of is Monty Python. I think they did it on purpose because
wouldn't
there's
be
so many
surprised.
nods to it, and you just can't help but laugh. And this is the guy who's running the Catholic Church, and it's the guy who's like, "Have a wafer thin mint."
Yeah.
I'm full. So yeah, you're missing out on that. Mr. Robot just announced that season 4 will be the last season,
and they extended it from 8 episodes to 12 episodes.
Right.
I read. Yeah.
I've
Interesting,
enjoyed
because
it.
I thought like all their seasons were 12 episodes. So I guess maybe they were going to do like a split season, like a 4 or 5, and then they're like, let's just do it all in one.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But so that's coming to an end after this next season coming up here. But there's a tie-in, and I know you did not finish Luke Cage season 2, right?
No.
Okay. Can I tell you the ending?
Yeah, I don't care. Because I may never watch it. I
know it was aggravating you, and I've told you in the past I didn't want to talk about the ending because I wanted your gut reaction when you saw it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows when I'll get to it.
Yeah, to see how mad you would get.
Yeah.
Can I tell you the ending?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, it's been out for a while, people, so there's take the spoiler as you will.
Earmuffs.
So at the end, he kills off what's her name?
Jesus, Eric.
Who owns the Cotton Club now?
Yeah.
All right.
Mariah.
All right. She's gone. He winds up getting control and ownership. It's left to him in her will that he gets the Cotton Club. So now he owns the Cotton Club. The end scene is him in the office, and he's dressed up in a suit without the jacket, right? The vest and everything, and he's got another guy that's helping him out. And who's the cop character that you hate?
Oh, Misty Knight. Yeah,
right, Misty Knight. And then the lady's daughter, who owned the Cotton Club. I'm forgetting the character's name.
Nightshade is her villain name in the books, but yeah.
Okay. The daughter becomes a villain?
Yeah, she's the one that makes all the herbs for... Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think Nightshade
Which,
is
by the way, Bushmaster?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved him through the whole thing. He was really good. He was believable. Had sort of a superpower, but then it would decrease because he'd go back to being human.
Right.
It was realistic the way they did it for what you can with that kind of property. So at the end, I guess Nightshade walks in to see Luke, and she talks to him for a little bit, and then she notices he's not paying attention to her anymore. He's not listening to her, being reasonable, and he walks slowly. You're hearing the music. He goes behind the desk. And she's standing there in the doorway looking, and his associate walks over and closes the door while somebody else comes over there to conduct business. It's the end of The Godfather.
Oh.
So you're watching the whole thing. She's just standing there in disbelief, and the guy walks over and just slowly closes the door as she's looking.
Yeah.
I'm like, all I could think of was, Matt will hate this. Matt is going to scream at this, and you didn't get a chance to see it.
No, I may eventually watch it, maybe before Iron Fist comes out. I'll force myself to get through it.
The reason I bring up Luke Cage...
You said it was Mr. Robot tie-in?
Yes. There's a scene in Luke Cage that's in Mr. Robot, where you remember the I'll say a brownstone, but remember that fancy house they break into where they were using it as sort of a mini headquarters for a little bit?
Yeah, and then
had
they
the
killed
pool.
that lady.
Right? Yeah, they killed that lady. That house.
Yeah, that was like season 1.
Where you come up the stairs and it's all brick, but it has the window on the street level. Well, whatever happened at Mr. Robot, Luke Cage comes in, I guess, after that. He's in the same place. And the room looks exactly the same after they all fled from the place. It's still a mess. They're stood on the wall. And he's looking...
Is it meant to be a tie-in?
I don't know, but it's the same exact place, and it looks exactly the same. Not just the decor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you look it up, Mr. Robot and Luke Cage Season 2, they'll show you the side-by-side. Because I'm watching, I'm like, this looks familiar. Oh my God, this is Mr. Robot. And then it blew up on there. There was one other TV thing I wanted to say, and then let's take a break here. We talked about Netflix. We talked about that. Like me, you're a fan of Sherlock, the TV show, the British BBC show, and the movies.
Yes.
Did you see that HBO has a Japanese production for a female Sherlock?
No.
Yeah, called Miss Sherlock. It's a Japanese production that they just announced. I was going to get your thoughts on that, but if you don't know anything about that, we can revisit that another time.
I don't know anything about it. Okay.
All right.
I don't know. I don't want to talk about it because I feel like if I talk about it, I'm just going to get yelled at. So, okay, great. You do female Sherlock. I'm looking forward to what I hope is Guy Ritchie's third Sherlock film with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. They announced that that's going to go into production very soon. Jude Law was talking about it last week. So do I. I like the first two. I know that Engelbert Slapdyback might not be coming back for another season of the BBC show, but I'm not sure because he kind of left that up in the air as well. He said that he would revisit it
Maybe
there
they'll
was
just
something. To
maybe they'll do a
revisit it.
movie, like a TV movie kind of thing.
Well, each
or-
season was 3 mini movies. It was almost 3 2-hour episodes.
Right.
So just give me one episode. Give me a Christmas special.
What was the last
Something.
episode? Was it The Abominable Bride? Was that the last one that we saw?
No. There was like a whole nother season after that.
Yeah,
that I
there was a
didn't
whole
see.
other season after that. No, the final episode was.
Because it was Sherlock season 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was John's wife. They think she's dead, and she comes back. Remember? And they have the baby, right? Doesn't he? Yeah, he has the kid.
You're right. Yes, and he's on that drug.
Last
He's on
episode
that
is
drug
called The
bender,
Final
right?
Problem.
Yeah, I know I saw it. I just don't remember what it was.
It says Sherlock and Watson face their greatest challenge after long-buried secrets catch up to them.
Yeah, I know I watched it. I liked it.
I don't think I have season
But,
4. I think
yeah.
I got to go buy it and catch up.
I mean, it's
on that.
probably on Netflix too.
Yeah, it aired last January, so I don't know.
All right. Well, the music's going, so we got to do the plugs and get out of here. Matt OG, what do you have?
You can find me on social media at GeekStuffOG. New episodes of Geek Stuff go online every Thursday. And of course, if you'd like to support the show, the best way to do it is through Patreon. Patreon.com/BKGeekStuff.
Gittles, what do you have?
Gittle Base on the Twitter, Instagram, and Xbox Live, and I will be playing Fortnite. I just started playing some more Overwatch again, so if you want to join me and play some games, I'm on there.
I joined Gittles the other day. I haven't played Overwatch in forever.
I haven't played Overwatch in ever.
There's all these new characters, there's new map layouts, and I was like, I don't remember how to play anymore because I didn't remember any of the special combos and.
I haven't played in
Combo
months,
breaker.
and I haven't looked at like the updates on them when they came, so I was like, it was like Wayne's World when they move it to the different basements. Like, this isn't our basement. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, what are these things?
I tried to overcompensate by running straight into the fire
Yeah.
and just taking out as many people as I can. No strategy, no cover.
That's hilarious.
I just went guns ablazing, died, respawned, ran right back into it again.
He
Right.
was doing the cannon fodder, clog the engines technique
There
of
you
just
go.
throwing ships at the bigger ship until it stops.
Here's another example. You know what it's like? Remember, if you saw Batman vs. Superman, while they're arguing, you see Wonder Woman fighting Doomsday being thrown and just running again in the background like it's no big deal. That's what I was doing.
That's hilarious.
For the show, it's Eric. Oh, sorry. For me, it's E-Rock Radio across the board on social media. Follow me there. But more important is the show. It's Erik Nagel across the board. Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us a call, 651-764-8437. That's 651-SMITHERS. Leave a voicemail, and we'll use it on the show here. We had a nice round of calls last week on the program, Matt, so we'd like to do that again as we go into the fall. We'll answer your questions and queries. Also, program on this feed, you may notice a file called The Radio Inquisition, part 2 of my interview with legendary broadcaster Mike O'Mara, one half of the Don and Mike syndicated show for 30 years, and now the host of the Mike O'Mara show for the last 10 years almost at this point. It's a great interview. We talk about everything in the radio industry. Howard, O&A, Greaseman, Don and Mike, and more. There's a lot of good stuff there. So if you're a fan of talk radio, if you're a radiophile, go check out both parts and shoot some feedback there and let me know what you think. Also, rate us on iTunes if you can. 5 stars. Even if you want to talk shit about us, talk shit about us. Just put 5 stars and say your
5
piece.
stars and-
That's all we care about. Please do that. I think that's it. Trevor will join us back next week. And as we start the fall, get back into our regular routines. I think that's it. So until the next time, everybody.
Be excellent to each other.
And we'll be seeing you.
It's Erik Nagel. And that's all the time we have. Follow the show at It's Erik Nagel on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Unless we do something stupid or something better comes along. We'll be back.